let's kick off with a brief description of the book. I am a fairly recent newcomer to the book, but I've been making my way back through trade paperbacks. I believe John and Bob, you lot more devote in your collection of the comic books. Who do you say has the bigger collection?
Me, I've got every issue.
Boys, who's biggest?
And I'm missing like 20. I counted up. I think I'm missing like 28 issues.
So you don't have every issue.
No, I'm missing 28 issues of the UK one.
Oh, okay.
Oh. But I'm only missing like 2 story issues from Sonic the Comic, and like 3 of the poster books, and then the rest are like after 200. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm missing about a dozen issues of the main series of Sonic. But I have every other comics. I even have the Halloween special that had the Archie characters and Sabrina the Teenage Witch. With the
you have the issue of Sabrina?
No, that's one of the only other ones.
I have the issue of Sabrina. I have all of the variants, all of the specials and whatnot, all of the comic pack ones.
I have
1/4 printing 1 and 2.
Oh man.
Yeah, I have the ash can, not the Archie ash can, but the actual 1991 ash can, with like the ROCC and stuff. Yeah, I have that. Yeah, I spent too much money on that. I also have an issue of Justice League Europe where they reprinted that, and I'm like, I could have just lived with that. I don't know. Yeah, I've got a really sad life, don't I?
You're in good company.
Yeah. So Bob, how about you?
What, as far as the comic?
Yeah, in terms of your collection.
Brag.
Oh, well, like I said,
If we haven't exhausted that topic already.
Yes, I have all of the variant covers, all spin-offs, super specials. I do have many comics signed by Don Best. I have Princess Sally #1 signed by Rich Kozlowski, the inker.
Oh, I met him too.
I didn't meet him. I got it off of eBay.
Oh,
So how do you know it's really his? It's actually me. I signed it.
Yeah, there
on my eBay company.
I met Rich Kozlowski.
Mike Wazowski.
When I was really young.
And
John Christopherson.
The thing that makes me kind of upset was that I think Tim Penders was there like the year before, the year after, so I could have actually met him. Which there's a lot of weird, like at that time that would have been like something cool for me. I don't know. I'm so confused at my life. I'm so hurt and betrayed, and I mixed feelings.
Ooh,
just I don't know.
That made sense.
I don't want to talk about this anymore. But I have a bunch of actual artwork from the comic. I've got a cover by Spaz. That's pretty cool. I've got an original page from #3 of the miniseries. It's got Uncle Chuck. That's pretty cool.
Now it's just Chuck.
They call him Uncle
Our good
still.
friend, our good friend
he's
Chuck.
an uncle to all.
Uncle to all. That doesn't sound sketchy and weird. Sonic, just call me Uncle.
Aww.
Uncle. This is so messed up.
You started it, man.
He's seen the error of his ways.
So let's view the comic as pre Ian Tracy.
Okay.
Well, I kind of view the book and kind of
Let's talk about like the first 50 issues.
Yeah, I
first 50 issues. Those were pretty good. Like that was a really good time to read the book, to get the book.
How many, like when it first started, it was way more influenced by, say, Adventures, because it was way more goofy and cartoony. How many issues did that goofiness last for?
That lasted
around 30.
Well, it started. I think it was
because the first issue was pretty goofy.
Eve was the first one that had a little bit more of a serious.
So like
tone.
17 or something.
Yeah, it was like the late teens, early 20s.
And honestly, I would say that it's less inspired by Adventures and more inspired by Archie comic books, because it's not like wacky. It's not. It's funny. honestly, it's just it's Archie, but you put Sonic the Hedgehog instead of
But
Archie.
Scratch
in.
and Grounder there, so it's automatically.
They're in there
ARSTH.
for 2 issues.
It doesn't matter there.
What is it? The Supersonic Search and Smash
Squad.
Yeah, but that's only like 2 issues. It's really,
Ian brought
Archie.
them back.
The best
though,
issues of
which
the
I
book.
love.
Is he allowed to go off topic? Post reboot, is he allowed to use them now? Or are they off
They're
limits?
coming up. They're going to be in an off panel.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
So I don't know if that confirms that they can be used in the new universe, but they're in an off panel in the next issue.
I think off panels are different because they're not part of the actual series. They're just
Yeah.
gags. So I think off panels they may be allowed to use stuff that's not like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope they do, especially coconuts because I like coconuts the
Well,
best.
and Mama Robotnik too. She need.
Yeah, Mama
Robotnik.
I forgot that Mama
She needs to be in the
Robotnik
comic.
was in the last off panel.
I love that Mama Robotnik has Eggman's mustache. Like what?
What was
I
that
need to
one
see
off
this.
panel that John Gray did with her in a bikini or something? like that?
Oh,
I like that there was like a
No.
sticker thing, like for the sticker book. They made up like stickers that Blaze and Cream were putting up on the wall or something,
Mhm.
and one of them was Mama Robotnik for some reason. Why would you have a Mama Robotnik sticker?
why wouldn't you?
Yeah, what's wrong with you?
But yeah, no, the first 50 issues was a lot of like the first 15 was a bunch of campy weird stuff. Like if you just want something that's just fun and lighthearted, that's what you like to look at. The following issues you get into a little bit more darker, and that's probably the stuff most people like from that time. My favorite issue from that time is still like issue 25, which was like a
Yes.
mixture of that goof. Like I love Robotnik in that where he's like, I'm gonna tamper with the mail. I'm so bad. This is a federal offense. And it's that I loved that old like they were treating the Saturday Morning Robotnik as this. Oh, he's a threat, but he can be funny too.
The signs that he would have at his desk in his
Yeah.
headquarters.
I love the nicknames they would give him, like Lord of Lard and things like that. Like
10W40 breath.
yeah, like that was a really fun time. Like it didn't take itself too seriously, and then it then sometimes it would have serious stories, but it was all it was a really unique and it was just special time.
In a child's life.
Yes. Yeah. Do you have anything to say about the first 50 issues?
I mean, other than the one that I remember the most is Endgame,
Mm,
obviously.
mm.
Well, everyone.
Because
yeah.
I was introduced to the first 50 issues in archives because I
Yeah.
started collecting at 149.
Yeah.
So, and I really enjoyed all the stories, and again, how Ian has brought back like the Crudzu. I think
Oh my
that's how you
god! And
pronounce
we were talking earlier about Vertical and Horizontal. Like I can't believe he dug that deep and brought those guys back. That was amazing.
it. Yeah, Harvey Who was the
Harvey
other one.
Who just
He
one
appeared
panel.
in one panel
Yeah.
in one comic book.
What's in his or who?
He hasn't gotten there yet. He's
At this point, I am as
Okay.
lost as Chris is.
Yeah.
This conversation.
What's a comic book?
Yeah, what's a Sonic?
honestly like Ian.
He was
Gave
a
new
fan.
life.
He was a
yeah,
fan before
he
he
gave new
joined
life
the
to
thing.
like everything. Like he really worked hard. Like all those guys that entered at like 160, Tracy and Ian and I think Paul Kaminsky might have started editing around then.
Yeah. I think
Like
he did.
they really cared about the book and I think brought it back to something kind of similar to that like near 50s, like 30s, 40s, and 50s style, but modernized.
Yeah, it was much more in line with the video games,
Yeah.
while still being its own separate thing.
Because it's a
Very
lot
distinctive.
darker than the video games, so I would say that it takes some like, or maybe just treats it like an actual comic book. I don't know, but yeah. Do we want to move on to the next 50 or something?
Oh yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ixis Naugus. Ixis Naugus and Robotnik returns.
Yeah, there was all of those world traveling issues with the Iron Queen
Yeah.
and Monkey Kong and
Monkey.
It could have been
Is
done
that Donkey
better.
Kong's brother?
Oh.
Pretty much.
Dial M for Monkey Kong.
I think
Monkey.
they had a good idea with the whole search for Ix's Nagus, but I think it could have been executed better. I'm sure a lot of it could have been executed better, but it was still enjoyable. It was still fun. You had that whole build up to Robo Robotnik coming back, which was the biggest thing I remember. Like issue 75 was a huge event in my life. Sad and pathetic as that is, I just like I was so excited when issue 75 came out. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be good. I was like, finally, Robotnik's gonna be back, and I'm so glad that he's got that Saturday morning design. That didn't last long.
then he has that entire room of all of the robot bodies he could possibly go in. There's that buff one and everything, and he chooses
With the
the
handlebars.
Eggman model.
Yeah.
That's something I didn't really get. So up until Reboot,
Mhm.
current Eggman was he was like alternate dimension.
There was
Yeah.
another dimension where Robotnik was on the ropes, and he decided to roboticize himself, and he got trapped into a computer. Well, Robotnik from this universe, or former universe,
Mobius Prime.
yeah,
Mobius
he
Prime.
died, and so Robo Robotnik decided to, hey, there's no Robotnik here. Seems like I can do well here. So he took over, and you essentially had Robo Robotnik as Robotnik from there on.
So Robo Robotnik is Eggman. Would be
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so
Yeah,
pre
that's-
reboot Eggman. Gotcha.
That's why Ken Penders is like, I own this, because he wrote that story.
Oh, what egotist. Yes, you own Dr. Eggman. Okay, Ken Benders.
Well, and the other thing is, too, I think this was after 100, but I know that, after Snively was roboticized, and then
Yeah.
you had Eggman, who was a robot, and they were captured by the BEM and turned into humans after
Snively
that.
was roboticized?
Yeah, there was this whole
He was
plot point where
poisoned.
it was like there were a bunch of humans, or overlanders.
Overlanders, not
that-
humans.
Skylanders?
They have like one less finger than us, so they're different.
Savages, barely even
Human.
human.
But they have like one less finger. That's not what I'm going to talk about. They were on a space mission or something, and
was smart.
No, they lost the Great War, so they left Mobius to try to find another planet.
yeah, they
to
were like there was
inhabit.
what is it, colonization effort.
Yeah, initiative.
Yeah. So they left, they came back, and Eggman was like, "Oh, come here, brother that I hate." And he was like, "I'm going to like do something sinister to them." And there was this whole plot point is like he could touch people and roboticize them, and
Well.
that you would just turn to stone if you didn't want to be a robot. But if you wanted to be a robot,
What?
if you wanted to be a robot, you could retain your free will.
I'm going to
And that's what happened to Snively.
I'm going to touch you. Here's a survey if you want to be a robot or stone.
So is this Pender's writing?
This is Carl Bowles.
Yeah, it was Carl. Because at that time, Penders was still on the Knuckles book, right?
Yes. Let's talk about the Knuckles book.
K-N-U-C-K-L-E-S.
Knuckles. I
No, why
liked
stops
it the
Knuckles' feet?
first time around, reading it all the way through. I have a lot of problems with it after, like, the first 10 issues or something.
No.
Like, especially the last 5 or so.
Yeah.
Like with
Monk.
with the Great Ape or something.
Great, great.
Grape Ape?
And what's his face? Hunter?
Yes.
Who's just essentially a
From Spyro 3.
less...
Spyro 2.
He's a less threatening Craven, the Hunter.
Pretty much, yeah.
So...
I mean,
Yeah.
for me, I went back to... Knuckles was, like, the first series that
Yeah.
I went back to when I started collecting, because I actually had a Knuckles comic when I was little that
Yeah.
I tore up and was thrown away.
You don't want to
like
read
little
this.
5-year-old Bobby Hardy is like, ah!
Yeah,
This is the truth game canon, Ruth.
What did you think
But-
about it the first time you read it?
I mean, going back and getting the back issues, the collector sets from
Yeah.
Archie, I mean, it was interesting. It didn't,
Yeah.
especially at the time for how young I was, it didn't really hold my interest because there was so much dialogue and it
Yeah.
didn't really flow or make too much sense.
Yay.
Especially when they got past 25 and it was, I remember there was issues about Knuckles and Julie Sue dating. And then there was issues about like politics with the Dark Legion and the Brotherhood Council.
That's
whatever.
really what lost me.
Yeah, when
because
I-
it was fine for the first like 10 issues, but then it really just kind of I feel like it repeated itself, and it was just like
Yeah, the Enerjack story was cool. The Dark Legion introducing introducing themselves was cool, and seeing Julie Sue and obviously the emphasis on the chaotic.
There's a lot of problems there. Like Julie Sue, her whole life is part of the Dark Legion, and then she meets Knuckles and automatically goes with him. There's
Right.
no other explanation than this
Well-
sexist explanation of, oh, it's our mind touch. We're
Yeah,
meant
the
to
soul
be,
touch,
so
yeah.
What is this, Twilight crap? What are you
yeah,
printing
it's
them or
like
something?
it's really sexist and like just
Mind
wrong.
touch.
Like it's there's problems with there are problems with.
Wait, well, are you trying to say that Ken Penders can't write believable female characters? Well, I never.
I also have to say that in issue 40 something in Endgame, I have a problem with Drago because he is a domestic abuser. Like it's out there.
yes.
He's a domestic abuser, and then
But
he's
this in a
dating a
Sonic
girl.
comic?
Yeah, he's dating a girl named Hershey the cat, and
Hershey the cat.
she's
Is she made of chocolate?
actually named after Ken's cat, I think.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, it is.
Fanfiction self-insert.
But
Pretty much.
it's just
Who's self-insert?
it's so messed up.
How is it implied that is it shown? Does
Yeah,
it
it
show
hits
us?
her.
It shows him
He
hitting
hits her.
her. She's in a just like the one issue with Dulcie and the one.
Oh, that was much later. That was like
Dragon.
108 or something. No,
Yeah,
100.
that was near the-
4.
near the adventure, right after the.
It was like right after. It might have been in the 90s still. Oh yeah. Oh, you want to talk about Adventure Arc?
Yes. Now I remember that was the one story that I really wanted to go back to, and
What did you
Super
think
Special
about it?
13 was
Yeah.
one I was keen on getting. And again, that was interesting, but
Was it a letdown?
yeah, again, there were just so many elements that almost felt unnecessary, and
Yeah.
certain things that didn't quite.
The
Makes
racist
sense.
cat country.
What?
If you
What?
think about
Sunny
it,
day,
the cat
whatever you
country is a bunch of savage, like hulking things from South America. It's kind of racist.
What?
The Savage Cat.
And that's Ken
raised size back.
Penders. That's Ken Penders is
How they eat their young.
Yes, it's
What? They put that in a Sonic book?
Yeah, because the Chaotix are captured because they hate Echidnas, because they came up with this backstory that the Knuckles clan was at war with the Felidae, however you
yeah,
pronounce it.
flea die.
When they went to the
Felidae.
Master, or it wasn't the Master Emerald, it was the Onyx Black Emerald or something like that. The Chaos was in, and the Super Emeralds.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
forgot about that.
when Perfect Chaos, wiped them all out. They were at war with the Felidae tribe. So, but anyway, the Chaotix get captured, and the Queen makes a
Yeah.
remark how they eat their young when they get out of line or something like that.
Oh my
See, I remember actually really loving that story when I was when I read it, like when I was 8. Cause I was like, oh yeah, Adventure's gonna be written into the comics, and Adventure's an awesome game, and I spend all night playing it. But
Yeah,
I don't know. I know it's really hokey now.
Yeah, I guess for me, like a lot of these back issues I went back to after, Ian took
Yeah.
over as writer. So, of course, I read his stuff with Bean and Bark and,
Yeah.
some of the game adaptations. Even the In Another Time, Another Place adaptations I
Yeah.
tended to like better than,
Well,
I
and
was-
the older
I would say some of those are really redundant.
Yes.
Some of those
yeah.
are like the Black Knight one. It says written by Ian Flynn, but it's word for word the opening cutscene
Yeah.
to Black
Yeah.
Knight. So it's like, what did Ian write? What did he add to
see,
it?
I
you
feel
know?
I feel like those Another Time, Another Place. It's an ad.
It's promotion.
They
He
have
said
to
that.
punch out.
He
I
said
mean,
that. You know.
So
which-
there's
right.
there's no reason to be like, oh, this is going to be an awesome story. Just expect that it's just going to be a thing.
Right now,
Yeah.
like even like with Colors or even Lost World. Lost World was really cool, and Chronicles.
Lost
because
World was
it
just like a
prequel.
tiny bit more.
Lost World, like I didn't mind it, but it added nothing. Like we didn't, like I was hoping because the game itself explains nothing about the Lost Hex. It's
Or
just
the Zeti, or
I was
Why the
hoping
Wisps
it
are
would
there.
explain, like the thing is just like Eggman goes, he's like, oh, so you're a Zeti. Luckily, I brought this shell, which should damage you for some reason.
He's gonna get back to it though, and we're gonna actually have an arc.
That'd be cool.
see,
Because-
Wait, about
the
Zeti?
Deadly Six aren't my favorite by a long shot, but
For
I would,
one shot, I like him.
yeah, I would be interested to see what Ian could
Wait.
do with
I
them.
like
because
Zaz.
think he could
Honestly,
do a lot
I
better
like the
job.
idea of at least Zaz striking, like holding a grudge against Sonic and just, trying
Wait,
to
so
fart with him.
he's going to bring them back into the comics? Is that what I
He said, I think he said he wants to. I'm not sure if it's been
Ah.
confirmed. He said he has
That'd be cool.
because I think
It's-
technically Lost World hasn't happened yet in the games.
The only
in
two,
the
the
comics.
only two things that haven't happened, or there are three things that haven't happened in the comics that are games: Lost World Unleashed and
06?
no, not 06.
Well, at least it's happening now.
Dark Brotherhood.
Well, Dark Brotherhood's in the
That's
future.
off.
Yeah,
That's off limits, though.
Well,
Chronicles.
well,
According
technically it's something, but also he said it doesn't matter because in terms of that game, Chronicles takes place 2 years ahead of where we are now. So in like
Okay.
even though it's not canon, if you wanted to make every game canon, at the moment Chronicles is at the end of that. Chronicles is the
Yeah.
last game in terms
Yeah.
of a timeline, which there isn't really one.
Which is a shame because now that there is no Dark Legion or anything like that,
Yeah.
it would be really cool to, especially now, to get.
Well,
to see
surely
the
they
Brotherhood.
could now because Penders may have won the case against Archie, but the case with Sega is still on. Sega and EA is still
Right.
ongoing, and so surely they could be like,
Still?
you have your characters, so shut up.
yeah. Well, I don't even think I don't think it's still going. I think it's still.
Oh,
It's like the case is.
Stupid.
Yeah,
um,
I don't. Well, I don't. Let's not talk about
postpone?
Yeah.
it. It's on account of rain. Okay, so back to the
The
comic.
weather's bad.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I was excited for Adventure when I was a kid. Let's talk about the next 50, like 100 to 50,
Slam.
or 100 to 150. I don't.
Oh yes.
That's
Yeah.
where I started I like continued buying it, but I stopped reading it.
Time to start stopping.
That's yeah. That's where I was like I was buying it. I was buying every issue, but I wasn't reading it because that was like really tough to sit through.
Was that the
Yeah.
one where the artwork is super bad? It's that guy with
Ron Lim did work on that at that time period.
And-
Ron Lim started like in the 90s, and for some reason went for like 50 or 60 issues more.
I like
and,
that.
and he's a fantastic artist.
Oh, yeah, no,
he
he's done-
recently did the Iron Man 3 comic book that
Yeah.
I saw on his online website. And
No.
that blew me away. But
He's
in
a
terms
legendary.
of Sonic,
He's
I
a
like
legendary artist. Like he did. Did he do Infinity Gauntlet? I think he did Infinity Gauntlet, if I remember correctly. Like he's a big name. That's why they hired him. They didn't hire him because he
But
could draw Sonic. They
Did
hired
they,
him because he's
did
a
they
big name.
give him character models? Because like his designs look nothing like what the character
Yeah.
like Sonic's super long spikes.
Yeah, and he has
You're
like
probably-
a mono eye going on.
And like
across his
this,
face.
like it's ironic he's called Ron Lim.
Yeah.
He like limbs are like longer than 06s. And like good lord.
Apparently, we're really loud,
Oh, sorry.
according to the chat.
Oh yeah.
We're just really into this.
We're
Okay,
excited.
Sorry, we were getting too excited there.
Yeah.
Let's tone down the excitement. Son. Well, I'm playing Sonic Colors. It's a game I enjoy.
I don't like these egg pawn robots as much as the ones from Unleashed. I wish the Unleashed ones would come back.
back.
I prefer these ones have more personality.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that. I think the egg fighters.
I think it's a
are-
color thing for
the,
me.
The egg fighters are like nice for like, I guess battle droids, but
Yeah.
these to me these fit Eggman's personality more.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of cool because their animations and some of the sound effects that they make are from the Egg Fighters.
Oh,
Be it
yeah.
the personality and the design wise, obviously, is Egg Pawn.
Yeah, I love.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Very good.
So story wise, what happens in that time? So so
Well,
Yes.
Sonic.
Yeah.
The big thing is, Sonic Adventure 2.5 or something. Sonic saves the world for something. I don't really remember what. He gets blasted into space. Do you
Yeah.
remember why?
Yes, it was.
My planet needs me. I have to go now.
It was the Zorda aliens who had originally turned Earth into Mobius using a
Yeah, the
nuclear
gene
gene
bomb.
bomb, and they figured
But it
out.
wasn't revealed yet that Mobius was Earth.
Right, that wasn't revealed at that point. But then they found Mobius and saw that they were not successful with eliminating all life on that planet, so they came back to finish their job. They used... Oh, what was the weapon that they used? It created like a black hole around Mobius. So then Sonic uses his super speed to reverse it and gets flung out into space.
Where he meets Tails' parents.
Yes,
Yeah, there was
Ironically
a lot of stuff that...
Tails' parents?
Tails' parents... Why were Tails' parents in space?
And
And they learned about democracy, by the way.
Yes. So then they started... Yeah.
You have to go to space to learn about democracy.
Well, Sonic, I'm going to tell you something about democracy. All right.
I love how Mr. Prower is Bill Clinton. And another thing, Monica
Wait, he actually
Lewinsky.
was?
No, I love how you're
Oh,
performing.
well, yeah. Who else is he going to be?
I will say
Oh.
during those issues is when collecting back issues, even before I knew Dawn Best, I
Yeah.
really liked her artwork.
Oh,
That was like the one artist during that span that I just really liked.
What about Jay Axer?
Oh,
Jay
duh,
Axer
yeah,
was
Jay
good,
Axer.
too.
And when
I was so upset when Don Best didn't take over the main story. Because it was still Ron Lim. It was nothing but Ron Lim. And then it was like, yay, Don Best is doing a backup again.
Right.
And then she wouldn't for another, 20 issues. And I was like, what's going on? She's actually good.
But yeah, they had Dawn Best, they had Jay Axer. Even, I remember 149, it was Stephen Butler, which I know a lot
Yeah.
of people didn't like how
I
his
like
art style at the time.
I like
but-
Stephen Butler better in the 60s.
Yeah, the classic.
Yeah,
Sonic.
he draws a pretty good classic Sonic in that kind of Saturday morning Archie, like when, because there was that weird 90s Archie thing. I don't know. It's like it was unique to that period. That was really good, but some of his later stuff I don't like as well. Maybe because I just don't like the modern version as well until you get to Tracy.
Right. Well, I even remember with Dawn, she drew the characters almost like classic style, even though they were still modern. And that's what really, because you had, obviously Ron Lim and Stephen Butler. Stephen Butler I really liked, but I could see why, because it was very different and they almost had human proportions and features at that time.
There's a lot of complaints about how Jay Axer and Stephen Butler and even Spaz drew their Mobian women to sexual.
Yeah.
They're very sexified, which I mean I can understand, but I actually have this Jay Axer art that I remember being. It's like this backup where Bunny fights Rouge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
You've
and
told us
I
about that
actually.
one.
Yeah.
I actually remember being like, this is weirdly sexy. I remember as being like a 10, 11-year-old kid being like, this is weirdly sexy. I don't understand this.
Well, it's like when I
don't come
started-
into my room for a while.
Oh, Rouge. Rouge the Bat.
Well, when I
sexy and
started-
smooth.
When I started collecting, there was, I think, 151 where
Yeah.
Anti-Sonic posed as regular Sonic, and it
Yeah.
insinuated that he slept with all of the things.
I remember that.
I'm reading through it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what am I...
Sega, what have you done to your comic
What's
book?
happening?
Why do you have Evil Sonic essentially raping these women? That's terrible. But, because it is rape. It's false pretenses.
Yeah, and even at the end, like we discussed last time at
I
the
can't
Sonic
believe this is an actual discussion.
Club
I'm
meeting.
partaking
Yeah.
I know, right?
we discussed at the Sonic Club meeting how Anti-Sonic and Rouge basically fly off to
at
a
the end.
quiet place.
Yeah.
I didn't even.
And that's
even
after
get it.
Rouge tries to seduce
When
Knuckles'
When
dad.
Rouge calls Sonic
It's
the
like-
Big Blue, she's thinking of Anti-Sonic.
Let's talk about that storyline where
Oh boy.
you've got all of that switching out for evil models.
yes.
Because
Patch.
that wasn't the biggest one. The biggest one was Patch for Antoine.
Yes.
I actually really liked that concept.
Well, yeah, and again, it was such a dark concept because he was
Yeah.
posing as Antoine, moving up through the ranks of the army, and he was
Like poisoning people. He poisoned his
poisoning
father.
the king and Antoine's dad to the point that he died because
Yeah.
of it.
That was like probably the best story-wise thing from that time. And then you had that scene where Sonic finds out that it's evil Antoine. He goes to the Mobius or whatever with an E, anti-Mobius, whatever.
With an E.
With an E.
Yeah, and it was like, hey, it's time to come home, buddy. Like that was like the most satisfying moment in that run.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Antoine's coming back, and like it was just that was probably the best story-wise thing that they did. It was probably the only thing I would argue worth reading or worthwhile in that whole almost 60 issues.
Yeah.
Because you had this really kind of interesting coup that was happening because Antoine was murdering people and evil Antoine was murdering people and playing the system. Although I do, there are problems with the whole why isn't Sally being a strong independent woman? I don't know. Why can't you guys write women? I don't know.
Well, and there was that story that John Gray did about Sally.
The slap.
No, that,
Yeah,
well,
wait,
he-
what is that about? The big slap? Well, like, everyone
Um,
looks like an anime character.
Yeah, that was John Gray.
He
Not the best
I
style.
even read a thing where he writes about it. He's like, yeah, it's not really good, but I stand by it. And
I know it's
understand why
bad,
it's,
but I made it, so screw you.
no, he wasn't even like that. It was just like, I know it's bad, but I've come to terms about it. I even make fun of it.
Should remind people.
Everyone, Chris has an announcement.
I'm expecting. That's not it. We're here today. Speaking of the comics, we just want to remind everyone or anyone just coming in that this is to help someone who has done a lot to improve the comics image, quite literally. Yeah, get it?
Yeah, we'll get to talking about him really
Oh,
soon.
yes.
We promise.
Yeah.
I'm excited because he does some pretty good stuff, but he's had some little money trouble lately, and today we're just kind of trying to help a brother out. You know what I'm saying?
We're playing video games for him.
Yeah.
I hope he's enjoying this because I'm doing all right.
Look at my score. I hope he
Yeah.
appreciates my score.
I got 1.5 million, Tracy.
All
I did it for you, brother. I did it all for you.
Gonna send you a screenshot and sign it.
Please go into Microsoft Paint.
Oh.
Yeah, but not only is he a fantastic artist, but he's such a nice guy.
Such a
Yeah.
nice
And
guy.
after everything he's done for the comic books and for all of the fans, it's the least we can do for him.
Yeah.
Speaking of how nice he is, he gave us a lot of incentives.
Yeah,
For
which
people.
if you donate some money, and depending on how much, we'll enter you into a raffle. You just have to donate as much as it says at the bottom of the page. If you want to be entered into multiple raffles, please donate as much for each of the items that you would like. So if you want to get a page and it's like $20, donate the $20. And if you want to get like the comic book set of Pirate Plunder Panic, which I believe is what, 15? 15? Please put that 15 through the internet. Open up your disk drive and shove it in. I believe that's how PayPal works.
Yeah, that's exactly how
Um,
PayPal works.
But yeah, please PayPal it to. There's a link below. I believe it's a link.
FTA at Finally Computer. I'm
Oh
sorry.
no!
I'm
This
sorry.
is PayPal.
Oh yeah, if you press the big donate button, it'll take it to a direct link. We can donate as much as you can or want to. Every little help, literally every contribution is greatly appreciated, no matter how big or small. And then once you've made said contribution, please take a screenshot or send a copy of the receipt to fta@findingcomputerroom.com so we can know exactly who donated. And then also say if you're going for a specific book or a piece of artwork, please write down which piece of incentive you're trying to get. Then at the end of the night, we can enter everyone in for a draw and prizes.
Which will be a random.
Which will
generator.
be random. We're gonna at the end of the night we're gonna put everyone's name into a bowl and we're gonna put out stuff.
I've seen this bowl. It's very impressive.
It's quite impressive.
Also, please be sure to mark your donations as gifts, so as no money goes to the government or whatever. I assume that's what happens.
Where am I?
They're just looking out for PayPal stuff. You're so small right now.
Thanks. I just got out of the shower.
Is there anything we need? Oh.
No, but please keep on. Please keep on.
Spread the word. Tell any comic fans you know who may have just got off work or something.
Post it on social media. Whatever you can do.
Facebook, MySpace,
As little as
Bebo.
it may be is a huge help.
Who has a MySpace anymore?
Bebo is what I'm wondering. Anyone know what a Bebo is?
I've never heard of
anyone
that.
remember
I've never heard
that? I liked it. It sucked, but I liked
But again,
it.
every little will be greatly appreciated, and so please keep. Well, we hope you're enjoying this stream. But we still have 2 more parts of Tracy's interview. We're going to be streaming soon, so look forward to that. And thanks everyone. And again, please don't forget to email so we know exactly if you have already donated.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much. But if you forgot to send the email, please do send the copy. Or
If you sent an email and forgot to write in what you wanted, please send us another email.
exactly, so we know exactly what people want to be entered in for. And thank you so much. And now back to our regularly scheduled comic book information.
Yeah. So, Bobby, what do you think of writers in general? You had like Ken Penders, Carl Bollers, some other guys
Oh, there's a comic adaptation
like
of ours.
Mike.
Quintero?
Can't. Ugh.
However you say it?
I never had to actually say it before.
I know, yeah.
And then there was Angel Desari. Angelos Desari as well.
Okay.
Who do you like from that time period in general?
From that time period,
Well, actually, I'm talking about 150 issues, so you can specify what 50 issues or whatever, you know.
I mean, I like the original, like, kind of slapstick
Yeah.
humor. That it was very simple at that time. That kept me
What
entertained
happened?
when I was younger. I will say, Ken Penders.
Yeah.
I do, although there are some stories that don't exactly match up.
Yeah.
And I will say, when I started collecting the comic book, his writing became very. It didn't keep my interest as a young kid.
I have to say Ken Penders' early stuff is really good, and I still enjoy it.
Endgame is a story I still really enjoy.
I will give it up for Endgame. Endgame it's pretty good. Even
Yeah.
in this day and age, it's a pretty decent read.
You could just tell he was a good comic book writer,
Yeah.
especially in the early days, but he wasn't necessarily a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog, where Ian is not only a good writer, but
Mhm.
you can tell he's a fan, and he puts things in there that, as a fan, you would want to see, as
Mhm.
somebody who plays Sonic games. So, I mean, Ken definitely did have some stories that
Yeah.
I really did enjoy during that time. Ron Lim, a lot of his stories had to do with, like, relationships and stuff like
Yeah.
that, focusing on Sonic and Sally, and
It can be done well. It
Carl
can
Bollers, who
be
can
done
I say?
okay. I didn't even realize this because Ken Penders, I think on Twitter, was like, I created the romance between Antoine and Bunny, but people were like, no, you didn't. There was a story before you that
Right.
hinted at it, and I actually
Oh.
reread that story. It was like an Angelo Desari story.
You see, he
That
gave,
was really compelling. Like it was
he gave her the
Antoine
idea.
goes into Robotropolis to
alone.
he thinks alone, but Bunny's following him and
I
protecting
remember
him.
that one, yeah.
Like it's really sweet. Like, and I think I like that stuff. I mean, I would also have to say I like Ken Penders' early stuff, like that that issue 15 to 50 range is really I still enjoy. I even like some Carl Boller stuff. I don't think he was really terrible. He's up for an Eisner too this
Really?
year for Watson and Holmes.
Okay.
His series that he started, Watson and Holmes, is up for an Eisner for, I think, best series. So I don't know if we can support that or anything, but I'd support him. It's really funny because there's Watson and Holmes is also up for best single issue story, but he didn't write it, so I'm like,
Okay.
But yeah. Now let's talk about the good stuff.
Yes. Now we're getting to the good era of Sonic.
The
comics.
era where I actually know I can contribute
Yeah,
slightly to
yeah.
what's going to happen.
Starting with.
Although
what,
we're
160?
gonna get to like 200, and you're gonna be like, "What's going on?"
I'm going to be with you for the first couple of issues, then you'll lose it for a bit, and then I'll come back and I'm at Worlds Collide. That's when I will come back in.
You missed a really good storyline. I think. Don't you think that?
Well, let's not skip ahead. Let's start
Okay,
with 160.
160. I loved Birthday Bash.
Oh
I
my
wish they
God,
put
yes.
Birthday Bash in the trade.
Why didn't I? What is birthday? I haven't read Birthday Bash. What is it?
I don't know
what it is.
either.
Oh, Birthday Bash is Sonic's birthday, and they surprise him with a remodeled knothole, like
The
the
Freedom
little
HQ.
yeah, because like the old Great Oak Slide and things like that, and that's the first time we actually see Bean and Bark.
Which
besides
I didn't
issue
know that
50,
at the time.
besides issue
Yeah.
50, issue 50, if you look into the background of one of the panels, there's Bean and Bark, but when they're actually characters, this is the first time you see them. And also, was there some Fiona and Scourge stuff going on then? Did they reveal at that point?
No, I'm trying to think. It might have been hinted at it because he kind of like makes a
Yeah.
remark towards her when he's leaving, or at one point.
It's kind of fuzzy because it's been a while, but
Right.
I like that stuff was really enjoyable because the next couple issues. What did you think of? What is it? Darkest Hour or something?
Darkest Storm.
Darkest Storm.
Yes, again I had just started collecting or reading. So 160 was a story that was easy to jump into.
Yeah.
And that I understood. I love Scorch, Finitevis. That was the first time they kind of brought him back. After Return to Angel, but when they got to Darkest Storm, I really wasn't familiar with Ixis Nagus, Mammoth Mogul,
Yeah.
Merlin Prower. So I really it was a good story. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't one that I exactly knew what was going on.
That's
for.
where I was, obviously.
Yeah.
Same way, I was like, I know Nogus from Satyam. No idea who this mammoth thing is. Where's Shadow? I know who Shadow is. Like,
I
give me
have
a
to
game
say-
character.
I have to say that Darkest Storm was what got me interest back in the comic book, and the art. Like looking back, the art. Like you went from Tracy Ardley to someone else. I forget who it was.
It's jarring.
Was
Yeah,
it-
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
first, if you get Supersonic Saga issue Volume 1, it's got Tracy and a few others, and the Tracy art, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
And then the other people is like, not so much.
Yeah.
Was it
It's really
James
weird.
Fry?
Yes,
Was
it was. It was James Fry. But that story really, even though some of the art was off, really got me back because it took the continuity that I liked. It destroyed a lot of it, but in
Well,
an
wasn't it-
enjoyable way.
Wasn't that Ian's goal? He had to kind of take all the crap that had been there and kind of fix things.
He had to condense and streamline and remodel. It was like he had to redecorate a house.
Make it more cohesive.
Yeah.
Instead of all of these different stories and characters like
Yeah.
all over the place.
Because I
Try to
honestly, I
put them
really
together.
liked the Ancient Walkers, but I think what killing them was fine.
And wasn't there like a bunch of Chaos Emeralds that he kind of condensed into just the actual
Yes.
set?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
millions of 7 different colored chaos
That's
emeralds
when
throughout the universe.
Tommy the Turtle died?
No, that was the next. No, it was Darkest Storm that he died.
No,
right?
it was after
It was
Tommy Turtle died, and
It was Order of Chaos, wasn't it?
Yeah, Order of Chaos. That's what it was
Yeah,
called.
okay.
I thought I could play with the big boys, but I don't know what I'm talking about.
So
Because
who was Tommy Turtle? Because when I spoke to
Oh my
Ian,
God.
Ian was like,
Oh my
everyone
God.
hates him. So who is he? Like, what was he?
Tommy Turtle was an invention of Carl Buller's, right?
Yes.
Okay.
He
Yeah.
was this long lost friend of Sonic that he went out and he had to go out and find. That then I think died and then came back, but he was a robot, like he was cyborg or something.
Yeah, but I mean, basically, it was a ripoff of The Tortoise and the Hare with Sonic and
Yeah.
Tommy when they were childhood friends. And then I remember something about Tommy saved
Pickles.
Sonic's life, so Sonic felt like he owed him.
Yeah.
So then he found him, but it turned out to be an infiltrator robot that
Was
pretended to be Tommy.
Was it an automation?
Yeah, automation.
Yeah.
And then he eventually found the real Tommy and brought him back, and then his shell was infected with nanites.
Yeah.
So
Nanomachines, son.
that's when Order of Chaos came around, where the nanites took control of him. Adam took
I
control of him.
I was kind of disappointed because I thought it was the original Robotnik coming back.
From my understanding, it was supposed to be
Oh,
the
that was
original.
so
It was
awesome.
not supposed. That's why at the end of Darkest Storm, I think it was on the monitor screen. It was a silhouette that looked
Yeah.
like the original Robotnik, and he was supposed to be coming back.
Why didn't they?
I don't know.
Probably because
Honestly.
that's too confusing.
Well, they had already brought back the original Robotnik once for like one story, and then killed him off again.
Well,
Kind
It's
of.
like what they did with
I
Optimus Prime.
actually really like that story because it's
yeah, that was
just
a
so
funny
weird.
story.
It was like, oh, day one, Robotnik plays golf, but he hits the ball through the castle window at Sonic.
Yeah, and then he has a pool party.
And
with Sonic.
he does a
It's like-
cannonball and gets everyone wet. Everyone's- like I
Everybody
remember
gets
this
annoyed at
panel
him.
where Sonic's just looking up and there's this shadow over him. He's like, oh god. That was fun. I wish that would have meant he came back, but you know, whatever. Because I don't know, I really like that design, and I really like that mixture of sinister and comedy that you got with
Yeah,
him.
he was such a fat, like slob, incompetent slob, but yet
Yeah.
he was actually threatening still.
Because my problem with the Eggman, when that started coming about, like especially in the games, he didn't seem threatening to me.
No, he was very. They went the direction of what he was in
Yeah.
Japan, very comical and a bumbling kind of incompetent wannabe
Yeah.
tyrant, basically, and that's all he was.
And that's why I really appreciate the Ian and Tracy run, because they treat him with respect. Like, okay, this guy, you know, he can get things done, and he did, which we're coming up to. Like, that's got to be one of the upcoming story. What is it? It's the Eggman Empire. Was that it?
Yes.
Where Robotnik wins. And Tracy does some really great work there, because you got Sonic just beaten to a pulp, and you can see that he's worn out.
Yeah,
There's
that-
also that great panel where he's running in place to build up speed. And he's like,
yeah, dude,
limits.
to your-
I got your limits.
I mean, that artwork, I loved how Tracy portrayed. I mean, Eggman, you actually, like you said, he was a threat, and
Yeah.
Sonic was desperately trying everything he could to stop him. And it was the first time we had really seen that.
Yeah.
In pretty much any continuity with Sonic versus Eggman. I mean, there was.
I would say
there was
except for
Endgame.
I would just say except for Endgame, and they probably. I think the fact that in the Saturday morning cartoon and early Archie, he already essentially won. That really helped.
Right, he was just more like playing games with the freedom
Yeah.
fighters in the early.
Or it was like they were just annoyances almost.
That's what I like about. To talk about STC for a second, I feel like issue 9, there's a time jump where like Sonic goes forward in time like 6 months, and then Robotnik's taking over. So I like that because that's the first kind of like with Archie, the first few kind of just like kind of jokey-ish, not very serious.
Right.
And then like issue 9 is like Eggman, like Robotnik's taking over, and then it gets real.
Oh, I thought
Yeah,
you said,
it's just
I
like
thought you said Sonic took over.
yeah. It's even like with Chronicles how it ended. I want to see a sequel just because when they got back, Eggman's won. He's conquered
Yeah,
the world.
that-
Everything's his, and now
Mm.
he just has to try to get rid of Sonic.
I
now
know
that he's
that's its
back in the
own
picture.
thing, but it really bothers me that hasn't been wrapped up.
Yeah, I gotta say that. It's
What-
just like Sonic
what-
4 episode 2.
What annoyed me more about Chronicles is the end is like he's taking over. Oh look at this! There's
You know,
Sonic and
BioWare-
Tails having a conversation about the credits. I was like,
BioWare is really an amazing company, don't you think, Sonic? Oh,
Ah.
well, yeah. Duh! I love Mass Effect.
Oh,
Buy their games. Buy their games.
jeez.
I messed that up.
So Eggman Empire is great.
Can't
That's,
wait to
that's
read
a
it.
trade.
I liked it. I kind of like, issue. Well, so 175 is when Eggman. That's that great
Yeah.
cover of like Eggman holding up Sonic in the Chains.
In the Chains,
Great.
yeah.
Is that Tracy artwork?
That was Spaz.
No, that's Spaz.
Because I was like, Sonic
Tracy-
looks a bit like too like it doesn't look Tracy-ish from that
No.
cover, you know.
Tracy doesn't really like that's still the point where Spaz is still doing maybe most of the covers, and then I think starting after that it's mostly Tracy, and then every once in a while is Spaz.
I mean, for several years, Tracy did all of the interior artwork and all of the covers.
Yeah.
And then when Universe started, he obviously did both for a time being.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then-
like during the starting of the 200s, Spaz did a lot of the covers too. Like,
and then
he went back.
Stephen Butler did the interior while Tracy
Yeah.
worked on Universe.
You also had a lot of you had a couple Sanford Green fill-in covers,
Yeah.
which is weird because it was like, oh, remember him from 50 issues ago?
Right.
He's back.
Yeah, we hadn't seen him.
I actually met him at New York. Nothing really eventful. I just met him and he signed my comic. I was like, "Here's this issue of Sonic you drew the cover for. Could you sign it?" And he's like, "Yeah, this was a long time ago." I was like, "Yeah, it was." He seemed like a nice guy. I bought one of his creator-owned things from Image, and that was pretty cool. Forget what his name is. So I'm sorry.
Somewhere he's
go.
out there shaking his head.
Also, at that time, you had the wedding of
Yes.
of Antoine and Bunny, which was also juxtaposed with the whole egg raping everyone into things.
Wait, what did you just say?
Egg rapes.
Graping.
Okay.
Yeah,
That,
Yes,
that,
yeah,
that
I
doesn't
know,
make
yeah,
any more
no.
sense.
Yeah.
the egg rape is a. It is a little pod. I think it's a isn't it Bowlers who made that? Because it started in Angel Island.
Yes. Oh, I remember that one. I think it was a 2-page spread where it had all of the echidnas that Hunter had captured. Literally, their life force was being
Yeah.
sucked out
Egg
of them
rapes
just
are
for
essentially
energy.
little pods that suck the life out of you. It's like being married.
Yeah.
Whoa.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't really think
You'll
that.
find that out later this year, Sunshine.
Well, speaking of which, I need to get your guys' addresses so I can send you inappropriate mail. No, so I can invite you to my wedding.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
But I'll probably forget and then kick
Yeah.
myself.
We'll just turn off anyway, you know.
Yeah.
We'll stalk your Facebook events.
Yes.
Let's move on to it was the Mobius stuff after that.
No, it was Enerjack
Oh,
Reborn.
Enerjack, of
No,
course.
have we talked about House of Cards yet?
Oh,
No,
I forgot.
wait,
It's only
that
2
was right
issues.
before
House of
Enerjack.
Cards
Oh, geez.
is after Eggman Empire.
Right.
I like House of Cards because it's the issue where Tails and Sonic fight each other.
Yeah. That.
It's like it's just as a really fanboy immature thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
they fight each other. That's kind of cool.
Well,
I-
and it's
I
like you
love-
don't
okay.
get to see that before then too in
No.
the comic, and I don't think you really get to see that in the video
Anywhere.
games.
Now the reason, look, apparently Ian was saying that apparently when they were making Sonic Rivals 2, they cited that story like House of Cards as an example of Sonic characters fighting each other in like other mediums. So they were
Okay.
like, I mean, I would have gone for Sonic Battle myself because that would
Yeah.
account for that's an actual game where they do just beat the crap out of
I
each other.
enjoyed that
Right.
game, but I forget it exists a lot.
Well, Battle.
Yeah.
That's
Ah,
what I
Battle. I think Battle. It's a fun game, but its game structure is badly designed. Basically, you fight someone, you have to fight them with 5 lives. It's like fight me again, and you fight them with 10 lives. So it's like just do one fight per character. Don't make me fight every character twice, and it would have been like a lot smoother.
You gotta get all
Yeah.
the robot moves.
Yeah, that was my favorite Game Boy Advance. Sonic
Battles
game.
are great. Battle has like its controls are great.
I still like Advanced
I-
more, but it's
Yeah,
pretty close.
Advance was good for me, but I guess compared to the classic, I mean, it was
Yeah.
still really good, but compared to the Genesis games, the
Oh.
level
Yeah.
design and everything, I just.
Yeah.
I actually
Which is
just
really
recently got Battle, and I turned it on and I turned it off.
Yeah, wasn't a fan.
I was like, how
Why
do
you
I
put the
fight
cartridge in?
people? Where do I go to fight people? I want to fight people. And I was like, I gotta
Meet
go
me
to
down
work.
at Station
Bye.
Square for a beatdown.
After school. After school, go to Emerald Coast.
Speaking of,
We'll
wasn't there a
rumble.
comic where all the Sonic kids were babies? Or all the Sonic
Oh,
characters?
Sonic Kids! I loved Sonic Kids.
It's the prequel to Sonic.
I still
I-
need to send Caitlin a copy of that.
Sonic Kids, I loved those when I was.
Is that like
a
Muppet
little kid.
Babies?
Yeah, kind of.
I don't remember too much about Sonic
Oh my
Kids.
gosh.
I read through it, but
It was-
I've just seen the
wanna-
cover for that Sonic
It
set.
was
Yeah.
like they're all little kids, and it's like right after Robotnik takes over.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's
I love
just
this
like,
level.
oh, they're young.
So it sounds kind of like Blast to the Past, the Saturday two-parter.
Essentially, it's like what happens after Blast to the Past.
Mm.
Sonic goes to the special zone for the first time.
Giant panda.
I actually don't think Faust was in there.
Oh.
I hate that. I think that's such a stupid idea. That
But how
Was
do you,
it-
How
was
do you
it-
pronounce his name? Feist.
Faust.
Was it Faust or Feist? Faust
Like-
is
like Warren
like
Faust?
the guy from Justice League, that wizard villain with the stupid hat, and also the
Okay.
character, and also that opera.
Hmm.
You know, it might be Feist. It's probably Feist. It's with an I, isn't it?
Yeah, it's IE. I've never said it out loud
EIST.
before now, so I don't know how to pronounce it.
We say that a lot. It's like, you know, when I'm at home with my fiance, I don't get to say Sonic things very much. Yeah, and was that an Ian invention that he was in the Special Zone?
Basically, Order from Chaos,
'Cause-
Super Shadow, and Turbo Tails.
Yeah.
Put all the chaos.
Turbo Tails.
At least it was better than Titan Tails.
Titan Tails.
Is that the
Wasn't
one?
that
Is that the
bad.
one where he looks like he's on steroids?
Yeah, that's the
like-
bump
Yes.
tails.
See, that was foreshadowing what would happen to Knuckles. I mean,
If you spend too much time with Chaos Emeralds, this is what's
that's
going to
what
happen to you.
happens. Yeah.
Oh.
No, but basically, they put the Chaos Emeralds in there, and he was in the Zone of Silence, and he was the only one
That's
left
right.
in there after Naugus was released by Uma Arachnis's
Yes.
orphans.
So he was
got all the
never in the
power.
Special Zone before then. It was
He turned it into the Special Zone and became basically
Okay.
the god who
Hmm.
would.
so that was an Ian invention.
Right, who would decide basically what anybody who entered would have to do to get
Because
out.
I
I
honestly,
never liked that idea.
I honestly, I
Yeah.
think that I honestly, I kind of like that. I kind of like
I
that.
don't mind
There's a
that.
reason to,
Yeah,
like,
to why they have to go
yeah,
through
why
what
they
do
have
in
to
the
collect
special
blue
state.
balls. Collect these blue balls, and I'll give you an emerald.
Well, I just like that in to go back to kind of in STC, the special stage was just insane. Like there was just
Right.
no right. I kind of like that more. It was just like an place of insanity more. Like the fact that there's a giant panda bear god.
That's
It's a-
insanity. What are you talking about?
That's just to me. That's just stupid. You know, like I don't like. It's so dumb that there's a giant panda. So if that's an invention of Ian, that's probably like the one thing Ian's done. But I'm like, yeah, no.
Well,
I'm
he
good.
didn't create. Feist was always there, being like a giant demigod panda.
was
Since
he
the
was
beginning
he a
of time.
demigod before that?
Yeah, because when they did the story with King Max, which turned out to be Anti-Max.
Jesus
What?
crap!
What are we
What?
talking about?
King Max, Acorn, whenever he was trapped in, I think it was the Void before it was fused
Yeah.
together. Where he
That was actually Mobius Mac, or with an E.
Yeah, because in the Scorch Lockdown arc, they kind of went back to that and said that I thought that was King Max. That's why he attacked Sonic, Sally, and Jeffrey when they went into the Void,
That blows my mind.
and that's why he
I
didn't know
have
what they were
no
talking
idea
about.
what
Oh my
talking about.
gosh!
I'm just
I
smiling.
think
nodding
I don't
my head.
remember.
Oh, I didn't
Exactly.
pick up on that. That's brilliant.
Because they did
If
a
you say so.
flashback of him with the armor on the
Yeah,
on the
I like
flying
that.
horse.
I like turning pages.
That
in
was a
comic books.
really great cover. But then you get inside and he takes off the helmet and it's Max.
love
It's
the
like, this is
stage.
Yeah,
weird.
that was the very first back issue I collected,
Really?
along with I think it was 52, the Guess Who's Coming to Dinner.
Yeah.
Those were the two that I bought at Pack Rat for the very first time.
Yeah,
after
It's like
reading.
it's like a parody of that movie with Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn, where their daughter is dating an African American gentleman.
Guess who's coming to dinner?
And it's like I think that'd be hilarious. Sonic's like, oh no, he's not dating our daughter. I'm like, what is wrong with this? Ken Penders.
Which we should say that in his own words, Ken Penders is the savior
Of the
the
Sonic
Sonic
comic.
comic book series.
Yeah.
I did, like I said, I got pretty ticked off at that, but I guess later he kind of made the remark that he portrays,
Like-
what he thinks people think of him.
Well, that's
I
dumb.
think that's
He's-
dumb.
No, he
a
was.
joke,
This was a
but-
conversation about sales,
Right.
and he was like, when I had the book, it sold a lot more than it does now. But that's true of every comic book. You know, that's just not.
Also,
that's
they
just-
were selling in grocery stores at that time.
Because that's where I got my first copy.
He also said,
Yeah.
Ken Penders
Same
did
here.
say that Walmart not carrying comic books anymore hurt them more than anything else did.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if I could go to Walmart and get them, I just would.
I wouldn't because they would be torn up.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I didn't think about
Go to a
that.
comic shop, please, people.
Yeah, support your local comic book
Yeah.
store.
My local shop all the way over here.
Oh,
And you need to
Man.
drive over here to go to Pack Rat to get your comics.
Hey, it's
Yeah.
cool with me.
who is
Oh.
sponsoring us? Kind of.
Yeah, Patrick. Yeah, originally we were
We
gonna.
haven't even mentioned.
They got us stuff, and they were gonna host it before we found out that their internet.
Although you know what, I went in there and Jamie said their internet's still like good now and like super fast.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's like, oh, that's good to know.
That's a lie.
This is good though.
He's just like, please do it at our house.
This is good though because we don't have like the magic people running in and being loud.
And
Right.
smelly.
Yeah.
No offense.
Yeah, that's our job.
And that's why they. That's why they annexed Peggy's so that they would play video games over there or magic games over there.
I can understand that.
Which, no offense, but you guys tend to smell a little more. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Back to the comic books.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I've offended everyone in the chat.
Stop being smelly and go ahead and take a shower.
Isn't this the boss you just faced?
No, this is totally different. The
Yes,
things are
this-
circles.
this is what Rotatron?
There's
Yeah.
like Rotatatron
Yeah.
and Ratatatron. I don't know.
Ratatouille.
Ratatouille.
Ratatouille would be the best crossover in the world.
Ratatouille.
Ratatouille. Oh, we need to watch that sometime. We need
We
to
should
commentary
find
on that.
Yeah, we should find that.
I like Ratatouille.
Oh,
No, we're talking
Ratatouille.
about Ratatouille, the low budget knockoff, which
Starring
Mike
Mike
Pollock voices
Pollock.
like 7 characters in it.
That's
We
Wait,
need,
seriously?
we need to get a copy and get him to
He's
sign
like,
it.
there's a company that
You can probably still get one before free comic book.
Video Branqueo.
there is a company that just specializes in these kind of low budget like knockoffs. There's been ones like Little Cars, the Frog Prince, like the Frog Princess, all kinds of crazy crap like that.
Oh, I just saw like part of this movie where it's like set in a grocery store at night, and there's this dog.
Food Bite!
Food
Oh
fight.
Is that what it's
gosh.
called?
Yes.
And it's played by.
Charlie
Charlie
Sheen.
Sheen.
Oh my gosh, that's so terrible. Oh,
I'm gonna die again.
Oh, I just remembered his name. Refreshinator.
Refreshinator,
Yeah.
and Rotatatron, something like that.
oh.
We paid-
Rotatron's the tropical.
Yeah.
Something
Well, see,
like
I love colours, but I will say one thing that's slightly not lady, but like the fact that they do repeat bosses. I would have preferred 6 original bosses
It's like
rather
the
than.
rest of the
Oh, yeah.
game is like creative and stuff. Then you get the reused bosses, and it's
Yeah.
like, what went wrong here?
Well, yeah, it's not terrible. I mean, like these bosses are just pathetically easy. I know Chris died in this one, but like the Ferris wheel bosses, I really like the space running ones, like in Asteroid
Starlight
Coaster,
Carnival.
Starlight Carnival.
Yeah, Scullion. Forget Scullion.
Yeah, that's kind of sweet.
Yeah, I enjoyed that boss.
Oh, Aquatic Park.
Do we want to talk more about House of Cards?
I like that.
I love Kevin Spacey in it.
Yeah.
He was really good as
House
Tails'
of
father.
Cards is one of the best. I love how he keeps breaking the fourth wall, talking to the cast.
Should I watch that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, 1,000 times.
My friend
yes.
at work
I'll
wants me
check
to
it
get
out.
into it, I think.
It's damn good.
Let's cast a live-action Sonic movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger as Knuckles and
Dan DeVito as
Robotnik.
Robotnik and Kevin Spacey as Tails' father.
No.
Megan Fox as Blaze the cat.
Okay,
Megan
yes.
Fox as Tails the Fox.
Just to get her in a
He's
cat.
played as a he's played by a
Anything to
girl
get
in-
Megan Fox in a cat suit.
in a
Fox
fox
suit.
suit.
Same thing.
That's why I said Blaze. It's cat suit.
Same
It's,
thing.
Yeah.
it's technically a kitsune, so.
Suit.
I'm scared.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I watched Digimon.
What's after House of Cards?
I don't know because they haven't released Saga Part 5 yet, so I have no idea what comes
Enerjack.
next.
Is that
Enerjack.
okay? Enerjack.
Who is Enerjax?
Well,
Jax?
He's
That's
my
the
battery.
delicious breakfast cereal.
part of a complete nutritious
breakfast.
breakfast.
You want to take this one, Bobby?
Enerjack originally was created by Penders, and he was
Oh, there's a shock.
he was Dimitri's like alter ego. Whenever Dimitri was infused with, I think it was 11 different Chaos Emeralds.
I think you have to go back and oh my gosh, I forgot that there were like 11 Chaos Emeralds
Keeping
keeping
the floating island,
Yeah.
not even Angel Island at that point.
Jeez. because it's actually named after Angel Law.
What?
But
Um,
oh my gosh! So you also have to go back to the whole brother thing. Dimitri starts the Dark Legion, and Edmund, his brother, starts the Brother of the Guardians. Blah blah blah.
It actually wasn't those two. It was
their sons.
It was their sons because not Enerjack. Dimitri and Edmund wanted to return the floating island back
Yeah.
to the planet. The council denied their plan, so then Dimitri went ahead with it anyway. It malfunctioned, and he became a living Chaos Emerald.
oh! Hold up, back up.
I live in
Okay,
chaos.
he had a suit that was supposed to drain the Chaos Emerald's energy to slowly lower it back into the planet, and it malfunctioned, blew up on him, and all of the Chaos.
Well, it wasn't a
energy.
suit; it was the siphon.
Well, yeah, the
wasn't it?
Chaos
Like-
Siphon.
Wow.
I take that back. The Chaos Siphon suit was Finitevis later, much
Okay.
later.
What
So
are you
yeah, it was
talking
just the
about?
Chaos Siphon at that point, and it infused him with all of the power of the Chaos Emeralds, and then he was
So he was buff.
so he was buried under his tower by fire ants.
It's just as the
And-
stone tablets predicted.
But basically,
Yeah.
Ian made sense of it. Was Enerjack was
Kind
This-
of an entity.
it was an ancient chaos energy scientist in Echidna's civilization. I don't even remember the rest of it because it was only in the Sonic Comic Encyclopedia before the reboot.
Yeah.
Mm.
But
And there were multiple Enerjacks.
right, and then basically he takes control of any
So-
Echidna who
so that was
gets too
some-
much chaos energy.
That was something that was like
basically.
planned then, right? Since
I
you
don't
only
think-
mentioned it.
Yeah, I don't think Penders planned it, but yeah, Ian was planning to do more with that.
No, Ken always just wanted one Enerjack.
Right, that was the villain that Dimitri turned into. It was like a one-off.
But Ian did a really cool thing where Knuckles becomes Enerjack, and I especially like the alternate future where he remains as
Charlie-
Enerjack
Charlie
or
Sheen as
whatever.
Iblis.
right.
The dark future.
Charlie Sheen is Iblis.
uh,
Winning! Come on, bro, I've got Iblis blood.
but yeah, no.
Yeah, Enerjack.
Shit, no, I think that best sums up everything you just talked about. Yeah, no,
I
it's
just
ignore that.
boosted into a
So
spike
Knuckles
ball.
becomes Enerjack, and stuff happens.
That's like Raphael becoming the Shredder, and like.
Oh, that
volume
happened
3
in the
of-
in the Image series.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's like it's.
Yeah.
Why would you make that?
Why would you turn Donnie into a cyborg?
Because it's cool.
Why would you make Leo lose a hand? Why would you turn Shredder into, Splinter into a bat?
Because Image was in, you know.
Yeah, because Image was horrible then. Because it was the 90s, and Image, even though they're like, yeah, we're Image, we're doing all this stuff, they were terrible.
Pretty much.
Oh yeah, got it anyway.
Image Rage!
So after Enerjack, what comes next?
Is that
Um,
Mobius? Are we finally at Mobius?
Yes, brave new Mobius.
Oh, we skipped over 30 years later.
Okay.
30 years later!
I thought
Yeah,
30.
that was
What's
basically.
universe?
I thought 30 years. It's 30 years.
Or was it 25?
You
No,
think
it
that
was-
25.
it was
30,
25,
30 years
yeah.
is the universe arc.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I knew
25
that.
was basically. I mean, for what Ian had to do, basically kind of bring that concept back and
Yeah.
try to put it to rest and set it up for future stories and 2 issues, and it wasn't even the full issue
Yeah.
of either comic.
I think it worked just
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, I mean, it worked well. It introduced. I mean, it was definitely rushed, but it was contained to 2 issues, so it had to be. So I mean, I remember I enjoyed it. I had no clue
Yeah.
what was going on.
So
but I liked it.
to go back, so 20 years later was something that Penders originally did.
Yes.
Yes.
It was supposed to be Knuckles 20 years later.
Yeah.
That's why it's so Knuckles centric. Because it's going to be essentially what the Lara Sue Chronicles is supposed to be, and he was supposed to have his character Dr. Droid from the Sonic Image crossover,
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
Dr. Droid.
who is an alternate version of Robotnik apparently.
even I
Yeah.
didn't quite understand that, but yeah.
I actually bought the Lost Ones #1 just because it's supposedly somewhat like I don't know why. I'm so sad. I don't know, and it was terrible. So yeah, let's not talk about this
Ow.
anymore. So, Brave New Mobius? Is that what's next?
Wait,
or
there
is there
was Mogul Rising, wasn't it?
more? Oh my gosh, there's so many
With,
stories.
Matt Herms. who did the
Yeah.
artwork for like 4 issues,
Yeah.
which was basically basically explained what Mammoth Mogul had been up to.
Yeah.
With the Casino Night Zone. and-
Playing the stock.
I
market.
like
The
Mammoth
stock
Mogul.
market.
I like Mammoth
So,
Mogul.
so.
Prices have never been higher.
We gotta buy stock in the Casino Night Zone.
I love what Ian did with Mogul and made him be like, you know what, I for some reason can't win against Sonic. I'll just wait till he's dead.
Yeah,
What?
Just wait
Yeah.
him out.
He's like, I'll live longer than you, Hedgehog, so I don't care.
That's kind of dark.
Yeah.
The highlight of that story for me was first of all Grounder and Scratch working
Yeah.
for Mogul and all of the old washed up badniks in the
Swat
Casino Night
bots and
Zone.
things
Yeah,
like
no,
that.
the old
SWAT bots
SWAT
looks-
bots.
Yeah.
And then obviously Beat and Bark too,
Yeah.
being in there. I mean, they're
Well,
all,
I
they're
love
like a
that
highlight every time they appear.
Knack and the rest and like the Destructix were there. I thought that was cool. Also, Destructix, that's a great name for like a rival for the Chaotix. I wish they got that.
Destructix.
Yeah.
Instead of the Fearsome Four.
Oh my god, no, it was the Fearsome Foursome. You had to have it rhyme for some reason.
I didn't know that.
The
Actually.
fierce
Oh,
and
you didn't
foursome.
you didn't remember that it was the Fearsome Foursome?
No, I
How
remember,
dare you, Bubba, get out of my house.
You're
I remember
banned.
the one story where they appeared with Mogul to attack the Chaotix, and then basically by the end of the issue they just left.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
They really didn't even do anything.
Okay, bye.
The
No.
Destructix I really didn't care about until Scorch Lockdown.
That really made them something.
And I'm like, oh, these are actually cool characters. You know, they were
I also
pointless
like
before
how Ian connected them with other elements in the comic
that. Yeah, the Battlebird Armada
and the gorillas.
and
Did,
Flying
whoa. Did Ian seriously name a group the Gorillas?
No, they're not even called the
That sounds like a
gorillas.
Powerpuff Girl villain.
But they're gorillas that are gorilla fighters that were from like issue like
they only
20
appeared
something.
in one issue.
Yeah.
yeah.
But it makes Sergeant Simeon make so much more sense.
Wasn't that a Spyro character? What's going on with this
It's
conversation?
like, I'm actually, I like this book, but hearing all this stuff, I'm like, why do I read this book for?
Well, I gotta say, Flying Frogs, I hated the character, but when they did the backstory to
Yeah.
him,
Oh my
basically
God.
how he's insane and goes around, like, murdering
Yeah.
large numbers of people and burning down villages.
Wasn't he a jester for the
Yeah.
Merchants?
This is
Yeah,
a
for the
Sonic
king.
comic book?
I mean, they basically had him in prison and he was, with his tongue, about ready to strangle one of the guards to
Yeah.
escape. But,
It's pretty messed
yeah.
up.
So,
Oh.
getting away from the Destructix.
Yeah, so what comes after that in the series?
Brave, Bold New Mobius, whatever Brave New
Where they
Mobius
go
is.
to, they actually go to the anti-Mobius, and
So is that where Scourge is from?
yes,
Yeah, where he basically kind of gave anti-Mobius its own identity instead of just an anti-verse.
it's really messed up because it's implied that he gouges out Anti-Antoine's eye.
Yes, yeah, It was,
Yeah.
the patch was for show, but then, you know, when Scourge got a hold of him, now it's
Yeah.
not, is basically.
It's pretty intense.
Dang.
And the anti-Robotnik who, like, dropped all of his weight.
Yeah,
He's, like,
no,
Ralph
he's.
Finn.
They call him Ivo Kintobor, don't they?
Yes.
They reference Kinderball?
Yeah, that... Voice crack, yeah. Yeah, that's his name.
I mean,
Never
he. I think Tracy tries Tracy tried as hard as he could to mix classic Robotnik and how Kintobor looked in STC actually,
Mm-hmm.
because he looks a lot like Kintobor from STC.
I always liked the Kinderball.
Even when they
Oh,
use that
man.
weird 3D model for the last 10 issues.
Alright.
It's okay.
I've just been, apparently Some Call Me Johnny is back in the chat. I want to thank Johnny for
The video.
for the video and his donation.
Donation, yeah.
I want to thank you so much, my friend, and I want to congrats. He just made 100,000 subscribers on YouTube today.
Oh, cool.
He deserves
Very
it.
rad.
Very well deserved, Johnny. Very well deserved. Thank you again, my friend, for everything you've done, and I look forward to annoying you in whatever next Brain Scratch LP I you know.
Hi, Johnny.
take
I'm a
part
big
in.
fan.
Just had to say that.
We're all big fans, Johnny. We all love you. We all love
Oh,
you.
yes.
Well, I want you to return my phone calls, but yeah.
He returns my phone calls. I don't know what's up
What
with
the
you.
hell? Biconus fan? No one even knows your phone number.
Kintabor fan.
Kintamore.
Hey, I made it.
All right. So so after that, what happens?
Are we almost at 200?
Yeah, we're getting
Let's
there.
just
Okay.
skip the 200.
Okay, 200's awesome.
Okay. What
Yeah,
happens in
200
200?
was awesome. Eggman basically loses it. Snively and the Iron Queen
Yeah.
take over.
So these are characters from like issues in like the 60s and maybe 70s, and it's like Monkey Khan and
Every time we say
No,
Monkey Khan.
Monkey Khan, so it's KHAN.
Yes,
Yes.
and
So
he's
Monkey
actually
Khan.
Yes. So he's actually king as well. So it's King
King Monkey Kong.
I forgot
Okay.
about that. Oh.
Yes.
What is going on?
But he brings them back into the fold, and they essentially take over Mobotropolis. New Mobotropolis.
Eggman loses it, and probably like one of my favorite pages that Tracy has drawn.
No,
With
that's
him
that's
ripping
fantastic.
his mustache.
I love that. I love that when
That
Sonic's
was
just like,
just
"What's
amazing.
going on? This is so scary."
Yeah,
and
the
he just
panel
tears it off.
of Sally walking in, like, what, what's happening, and Sonic with his ears back, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I just beat him like usual. Now he's,
And I
he
love
goes
the
insane.
Yeah.
remorse. Like Ian's writing is really good in that, but Tracy's art really makes that the following pages
I think
with Sonic's regret
Yeah, he
come
actually
to life.
feels bad.
Yeah,
I think
and
I've
that's
read
what
what we're
makes
talking
this. That's what makes this issue so good.
Yeah, and just to let you know, to people tuning in, issue 200 is included in the comic
about.
pack.
Hey.
Yeah.
So if you
There
would
we
like to
go,
see
Bobby.
that for yourself,
Better
then-
put in a
yeah, then
donation.
donate
Yeah,
and
please
try to
do.
win it.
Heck yeah.
Oh, like I that's probably when I became more obsessive with the book. I was like, oh gosh, this is my favorite book ever.
The anti-Mobius arc is what really drew me. It
Oh, yeah?
really drew me into the point where I was just reading it repeatedly,
Hmm.
and couldn't get enough of it. And then 200, like I said, like you said, the writing was great, but it was Tracy's
Oh,
artwork
yeah.
that really, brought it through.
Are those fish eating your rings?
They're like a shield.
Oh, okay.
And
Then you don't run out of air when you got
Yeah.
them around you somehow.
Exactly.
And I'm pushed down. Well, that was nice.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh, what happens after that Iron?
Well, I
Dominion?
want to quickly go. Was it did Ian have to change some stuff going up to 200? Isn't that what part of the Hedgehog Files thing is about? Wasn't 200 there was some like stuff he had to change around?
The Hedgehog Origins thing he's doing has to do with whenever
Oh,
the
comic
lost-
origins.
Wait, comic. Oh no, the Sonic comic origins has to do with.
Wait,
in
what
this-
are we
No,
talking?
I'm
Are we
talking about,
talking about?
Ian,
There's
Oh,
several
Lost
different-
Hedgehog Tales.
That's Hedgehog, yeah.
No,
So-
that's later. That's what was
That's-
going to happen after the Mega Man arc, and
okay.
what was going to happen instead of what happened in Endangered Species if the lawsuit didn't
So
mess everything up.
up to 200, Ian was just doing whatever he wanted to do.
No, up to like 230 maybe,
Okay.
Is he
It was up until
maybe 225 or something.
is he posting that online or?
And
is
it
that-
wasn't. It was
Yeah.
never.
Okay.
It was never. As with all comics, it's never what you want to do because you always have editors and
Oh yeah.
things to do. But there are multiple. He's going to include like 2 different versions of the infamous Endangered Species storyline because he was gonna do it as an universe arc, and he was also going to do it as an arc in Sonic the Hedgehog, and both were, I guess, very different. And the end product was really messed up.
and I will say I heard where Finitevis was supposed to play a major part leading up to 275, which he's my favorite comic exclusive character
Mhm.
because of his design and just the type of villain he is.
Is
So
he
that-
the white?
yeah, the cybernetic.
He's the not. He's the not Dr. Zachary White.
I got you. I know,
Right.
I know who we're talking about now. Yay.
He's the one with the star on his cape.
And
Yeah, with the
the
wolf
crazy
wings.
eyes.
Yeah, the crazy eyes.
Okay.
Finitivus gets a lot of love on the internet. Like, a lot of people really like him on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's kind of not a ripoff, but he's very similar to Dr. Zachary.
Yeah.
But
I prefer Zachary because that's what I grew up with.
No one cares what you grew up
I remember
with.
the first time I saw Finitevis, it was in Birthday Bash, whenever he saved Scourge and Rouge from
Yeah.
Shadow. And that was like that character, he had like one line, I think, but yeah, I really liked him.
Like,
First
this
time I
guy
saw him.
means business.
Okay, so after 200, that gets us to where?
Iron Dominion.
Jeez, Iron Dominion. That happened for a little while.
Yeah, they went back and forth.
What is that? What is Iron Dominion?
It's essentially the Monkey Con people take over, and then it's really good. I just it's been so
Doesn't
long
sound
since
it.
I read
Yeah,
it.
Monkey
basically
Con.
what happens is the Iron Queen, who's a techno mage,
Yeah,
she
there's
used to live in Overlander society, but
Skylanders?
yeah,
This is my final
she was-
fantasy.
basically a part of what was described as almost like a cult society
Oh.
Yeah.
Eel.
that was banished. When
Eel.
everybody else she was associated with was killed because of it, and she, being a kid, was just banished and not executed for practicing techno, for being a techno mage.
Yeah.
I got kicked out of school for practicing techno.
But basically, she takes over with Snively. And
Well, her and Snively, her and Snively, kind of online date for, secretly online date for like
JDate.com.
5. Yeah. Because it's really funny because Snively's like, "Oh, I love you," and it's like, "Soon, my darling." And you'll see it like at the end of some of the issues. You might have actually, you might have started during our Eggman Empire, right?
There may be a bit where he's like speaking.
Yeah.
yeah, it was
You like
actually the one story that John Gray did, which I loved that story that focused on Snively and
Yeah.
how he was basically abused by Eggman, and the Dark Egg Legion, didn't respect him, so that was
Yeah.
his out, was to talk to the, at the time he didn't know, but the Iron Queen through Eggnet.
Eggnet? Well,
Yeah.
So after
but-
that craziness, what happens next in the comic?
Then Nagus starts playing a role, right? Or there's
Well, Eggman came back
Eggman
and
came
went to
back.
hiding. And then they had the story arcs where basically Sonic and the Freedom Fighters went around the world and visited. Like,
There was a really cool storyline that I like a lot where it introduced Bunny's uncle
yes.
Beauregard, and it was like in the oil ocean refinery, and
Yeah, the Sandblast Freedom
yeah,
Fighters.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, the one story.
I think
with-
that's Ben Bates' first interiors, maybe.
Yes. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, his first in comic work was actually off panel for Tales Adventure.
Okay, right. Yeah, the one I really liked, was it Jamal Peppers did the cover, but it was when they,
Was it
God, I
with
forget
Jeffrey?
the story.
Jeffrey
No, it was before
King
that.
Country, or
It was the one with Aklut, Grandmaster.
oh
however you say
yeah,
it,
where they
the
go up
orca.
north.
Yeah, the Arctic, whatever.
Freedom
I
Fighters.
forget. Yeah, the Arctic Freedom Fighters.
I can't progress. There's nothing
That was a
coming
really
to
cool
blow it
story.
up. Oh, there we go. I needed to trigger it.
That's okay. So then what? When like at what point does like the lawsuit start taking a changing
Like the
stuff?
230s, I would
Yeah.
say, because you get into endangered species, and it's like one issue. It's like, oh, these are characters like Remington and
Leon Da. And
yeah, and then the next
Knuckles'
issue,
mom. And
they're not even mentioned.
Your mom.
They're not even mentioned or not even seen. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, the echidnas are gone. The echidnas are gone. This place that the echidna homeland, when they were actually using very specific terms in the other issue, like,
Yeah.
oh,
Hey-
hey, Remington, hey, how you doing? Or, hey, we're in, what's it called?
Pumpkin Hill.
Albion.
Yeah, Albion.
Albion.
Whatever it's called.
Fable
I
2
don't know.
Land.
We need someone to actually read these things to me.
How do I read?
Please help us pronounce things
But it's
in
like,
the comic.
it's like you can obviously see that it's a quick rewrite from there on, and it just, I don't know, it's honestly for me the last 10 issues or so before Worlds Collide were very one note. It was like, oh, we're hopping around, like it's like, oh, we already had some great hopping around the world thing, but then it was like, we're chasing the Death Egg, but we're going all around the freaking world. And it's like, oh, the Death Egg's right there. The Death Egg's right there. And it's just, get to the Death Egg. Get to the Death Egg. Just get
How
there.
are they gonna get to
Yeah.
the fireworks factory?
Ah.
To the chopper.
Just as a
Get
note,
to the chopper.
this is a note for anyone that plays Asteroid Coaster.
Yeah.
Don't hold a direction when you jump or you'll die.
And honestly, when they finally did get to what's it called, endangered species, it kind of hurt
yeah,
because you knew this wasn't how things were supposed to be. You could just feel it.
yeah, honestly, I wish I wouldn't have known about it because as a story on its own, it was okay.
Yeah.
And for what Ian had to work with, I mean, he did the best he could with it. But it was
Yeah.
still reading it, especially we'd been waiting as readers to finally Knuckles to return to all of the echidnas.
Well, you
and
had
Face
that whole
Remington
thing that
and
he set up
everything.
in the Enerjack arc where he, destroyed a lot of Echidna society, and they were starting over because he was Enerjack. But now they're worshiping him as a god for, whatever. It's like, oh, the Guardian, yay! It's just there's a lot of, development that still had to be done with Knuckles.
Mm-hmm.
But you're like, I don't give a crap. Stop talking.
Let's get to Worlds Collide. That's what I want to talk about.
like
Worlds Collides happened.
And I'm trying to think between that there was Nagus returned.
Where's
I liked
Tails
I
doll?
liked all of the
Tails
Nagus
doll
stuff.
coming into
Yes.
a giant
I mean,
penis
I like
monster thing. It's like
Yeah,
what?
That was awesome.
Who drew that? Like
Evan Stanley,
Yeah.
I think,
Like,
designed that.
I liked his art, but like if you look at that, like
her
that,
art.
Oh, sorry, my mum's
Yeah.
like her art. Like if you look at it like that, the design of the Tails doll monster.
Looks
Looks-
like a female anatomy.
Well, no, not just that. Like it doesn't.
A female.
It's
now
so-
I can't even look at it.
it's
I didn't
so
even bother.
you
detailed.
didn't realize
No.
that?
No.
No, I didn't.
It's
Oh
like-
my god, it totally looks like female anatomy.
Yeah, well, the thing that's weird is that like, it's drawn and it's so detailed that it's drawn. It doesn't fit in the cartoony world of something.
Yeah.
A joke like
Yes.
it's from like from a different book or something. It doesn't really make any sense.
I don't really understand it. I just forget about it.
Yeah.
Because I like that the Tails doll was entered as something, and they were building it up. They were building it up, and they were building it up, and it might have been a little too much, really.
Because I got the Worlds Collide preview for Comic Book Day
Yeah.
thing, and I'm really like, why is the
Yes.
giant weird monster that everyone keeps calling the Tails doll? Like,
Well, Cream had the Tails doll. Like, she found it and was like, oh, I'll keep a hold of you until I can find whoever your owner is. And then she slowly realizes that, oh, this thing is causing trouble all around town.
you'd think that the first person she'd go to is Tails. Tails, here's a robot of you.
But the problem is Tails is off
Dead.
with Sonic.
Traveling the world. Yeah, he died.
Yeah.
But then he came back, just like Eggman. So there you go.
He was thrown off planet to fight the Bem or whatever, or the
To fight the bzzz, or whatever. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
No, literally, they were called the bzzz. That was their name.
What?
Who names these characters, man?
I do.
Freaking-
I name these characters.
Although that arc did have the nod to Sonic the Comic when
Everyone
Sonic
was-
went super, and Super Sonic was actually a different
Yeah.
entity that was
Oh,
crazy
no,
and evil.
I
just
like
like
that. I
Eggman.
like that concept of Super Sonic being
Yeah, that-
evil.
that's
I like that. It's
cool.
kind
I
of a
like
cool
that.
concept.
Yeah. There was a couple nods like Amy and Techno or Techno and
Short fuse.
no, I don't think short fuse might have been referenced, but
Techno is shown
drawn
in the background.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so was
I remember
what's
that.
her face, the cat and Pajamas.
Oh, Ebony.
Ebony and Pajamas were both in the back in that concert,
That's cool.
which was cool.
Is that the one where Sally slaps Eggman?
Yeah.
Sonic.
Yeah,
that was John
that's the
Gray.
slap.
You've been gone for a year.
Like, I hate you.
Well, I like to think of it as she is just having the worst time of her life, and she is having like the worst of mental breakdowns at the worst possible moment.
That's what you
Like
want.
that's the
in a
only
Sonic
reason
comic.
you can like it's got to be because you died.
I noticed. It's not the first time.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Okay, let's talk about Worlds Collide because I know
Yeah.
Gareth is like.
I love
Yeah, you're
Worlds
drunk, you're
Collide.
I've read the first trade per back.
Worlds Collide is what it's a blessing and a curse. Worlds Collide is what got me to being a monthly comic book
Yeah.
buyer. And I was like, because I love Sonic, love Mega Man. I've been collecting the trades of Sonic, been collecting the trades of Mega Man. I love the Mega Man book. That's probably my favorite book that I get every month. I love Mega Man. And so like when they were like, we're gonna do a 12-part crossover. I was like, I had to get this, but I was like, I don't want to have to wait 6-7 months for the first
Yeah.
trade to come out. I want to read it
Yeah.
straight away, so I started.
You got me.
You needed a
suck.
homing
You
pack
suck,
then.
Chris.
I always forget about that
Looks
one.
like a homing shot.
And so I started
Homie.
playing it.
There we go.
I love it. You know, it's broken up into 3 arcs. The first arc is a bit repetitive.
Yeah.
We keep seeing the same opening confrontation between Sonic and Mega
That's
Man.
like the standard for a crossover. You have to have the two main
Yeah.
characters
Well,
fight.
no, I have no problem
Yeah, I know.
with them fighting. It's the fact that we're shown the same fight like twice, like 3. They keep like coming back to it. Like
Honestly, that might have made it a little long. Like it was 12 parts. It was a hefty, like read. Good. Like thank God it was like every week you were getting a new issue of it though.
yeah,
Because if it was
Yeah.
if it was 12 months, you had to wait for the story. It,
Yeah,
it
that,
probably
that
would have
wouldn't
dragged
gone
on.
over as well.
that was.
Yeah.
I think the reason why it's 12 is because they did it over 3 books.
Yeah,
You know?
and they
Right.
wanted to. It's because of the trading situation.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, and
I mean, I think as like 6 to 10 would have even worked, but it was really good and really well done.
Possibly 8 if they would have streamlined
Yeah.
some of the story, but I'm happy
Yeah.
with it because certain pages like I think it's either part 1 or 2.
Is this
of
a
the-
remix of
No,
No, this is actually
No, this is.
this is its own thing in the game.
This is own music.
It might just be really light, but it sounds like Sonic Adventure Hot
Shelter?
It
Hot
kind
Shelter.
Oh,
same
yeah,
composer.
I
and it kind of has that
Oh yeah.
vibe to
yeah,
it.
but like some issues like Sonic the Hedgehog issue 250, where it's the one where the Robot Masters come out to attack.
Yeah.
That issue is pretty much nothing but just fan service and just like look how awesome this is. Which story wise, not a lot happens in that.
Yeah.
Right.
But I loved it. Like that, like this the opening shot where like you see all the like there's Sonic and his crew and there's like Mega Man and like Proto Man and stuff. And
The whole-
like, and then when you see all the Robot Masters, like every single one from the game in that big splash page.
That was cool.
Yeah, what
That's
what
awesome.
Ben Bates did with that thing.
Ben, like
It's like, oh my! And
Who
the
did-
other one was the 2-page spread that he did with Sonic and Quick
going
Man
through all the
fighting.
yeah.
And Sonic was also kind
Because
of
who did the first arc?
First
Was it
arc-
Evans.
No, it was Jamal
Jamal
Peppers,
Peppers.
and
Ah.
Ryan Jample also worked on. I know at least the last issue of that arc. but I
And
think
arc,
he did
arc 2 was Tracy.
Yeah, Tracy.
And arc 3 was Ben Bates. And that's like Ben Bates' arc's so good.
Yeah, it was cool because like Jamal Pepper's artwork to me kind of catered toward the Mega Man style more with Ryan Jample.
Yeah.
Tracy catered more to like the Sonic side, and then Ben Bates was like a good like
He brought it
balance.
together.
Well, I
between
like
the
you know
two.
what I like because the first I forgot his name even though you just said the first guy Jamal
Jamal
Peppers.
Peppers, yeah.
His artwork was kind of more like I quote unquote realistic. I know it's all about cartoon characters, but like, it wasn't very cartoony. Tracy's is a very kind of cartoony looking style. I thought Ben Bates did a great thing of like merging the two. It's like it's very
Yeah.
like realism, but there's stuff like there's a great shot where like Bates kicks Sonic in the stomach and like his eyes are like popping out of his like face and
Right,
stuff.
yeah.
It's like a nice mixture of like the realistic and the cartoony. But like I loved Worlds Collide. They're one of my favorite
And
books.
honestly, before Worlds Collide, it's not that I hated Mega Man, but I definitely wasn't a fan. I had never played. The
Have you
original...
read? Were you reading the book?
No, not at all.
I recommend it.
Well, now I am.
Because at that point, because it was the Mega Man book is kind of what I hoped the Sonic would be. It's a retell. It's a kind of it retells the stories of all the games in order, and it does like
Right.
at least so far it's been like original like game adaptation, original story, game adaptation, original story, type of thing, and like it's a lot more closer to the games. And that's kind of what I wanted the Sonic one to be, and that's why I actually like this idea of a reboot, making it more game
Yeah.
friendly.
I agree with you. on
Because
that.
I just so much convoluted, bloated backstory, just not
Monkey
needed.
Kong.
I like Monkey
Gods.
Kong.
No, but I really wasn't interested in the video game or the comic, and
Yeah.
I was actually a little upset at the crossover. Like, you're forcing something I'm not really interested on, but
Yeah.
This is out
But-
my comfort zone. Get away!
yeah,
See,
But
I
I got-
actually I picked up the first issue of Mega Man and then I dropped it.
The first
I did.
issue, you can't do. You need to give it more than that.
I was like I don't care enough about Eggaman. I don't care. I don't care about Eggamans. Let go of my Eggamans.
Eggman sucks.
no,
But
but I like got the first issue of Worlds Collide, and I mean the artwork was great, but it was actually Dr. Wily that
Yeah.
kind of got me interested.
That's
in
the best
The
thing-
bromance
Wily
between
Eggman
and
bromance is
Wily.
fantastic.
I love
I'm
the
like, this is
deterioration
actually
of
cool.
it, though. I love the deterioration of it.
I,
Where you start seeing it crack, and you're like, I'm going to betray this guy. I'm going to betray this guy. Like, you see that similarity.
there's one thing that we're gonna go into slight, very very slight spoilers here for one thing that happens in Worlds Collide. That I am it kind of showed the difference between
Oh, I love that, yeah.
Robotnik and Wily, and
Yes.
it's something that I am surprised that Sega allowed. There's a bit where Eggman pretty much tries to murder Dr. Light, and Wily's like, "What are you doing? I don't want Thomas dead. I just want to beat him." And Robotnik's like, "You're a weakling. I'm done with you."
Yeah.
Like, I'm surprised that they show like one of the covers. I think the cover to part 11 is it's Eggman standing above Dr. Light, like at the mercy of Dr. Eggman type of
Right.
thing, and like Eggman just pretty much kicks him off this like cliff he's on, and he just falls down, and it's like
Yeah.
that's kind
Yeah,
of
it kind of established Eggman as even more of a villain than Wily, which was, I mean, not that he played a bigger part, but just he was
Well,
more
I see.
willing to do
I
whatever
think
it
Wily
took to
is more human than Eggman.
because Wily's all of like Wily's and even in the games he was just like he would just make robots who would just kind of like steal
Yeah.
stuff, and like his plans were
Right.
never really like Eggman. Even when he would like imprison animals against their will and stuff, Wily was just like, I have robots. I wanna rule the world. Okay, bye. Like his plans were never really that evil. He was just kind of a nuisance that like Mega Man would have to destroy every once in a while,
Right.
you know. And it's kind of weird because like of the two of them, because Eggman has the far cartoonier look to him.
Yeah.
I like the juxtaposition that he's done. Is like I'm gonna just murder people and stuff. You know, it's like
I will say that I love Ben Bates' Eggman. Because I love the incorporation of the red eyes, and that like he's got this squarer head than I think most of them give him. And there's just this because there's this one moment like right after Genesis where his mustache is down and he's pressing that button. He's just like,
Yes.
yes, I love that. And then he
Yeah,
just starts
really?
smashing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why won't he die?
chaos is the constant. Stupid golden rodent. They're not even rodents, by the way. He's not even a rodent.
Well, I think that started with Satyam. They always had Robotnik calling him like,
Yeah.
rodent.
Right.
Oh.
But basically with Mega Man, now that I've read Worlds Collide, I love the games, and I've started collecting and reading the comic book, and I mean it's really Worlds Collide that even made me pay attention to Mega Man.
Well, I think
Yeah.
that was kind of a marketing as Sonic. Sonic is, I think, with the exception of the current Afterlife with Archie, Sonic is pretty much Archie's best-selling book.
It is.
Yeah.
Right.
Sonic was for the longest time Archie's #1 seller. Unless you count digests.
Mm.
Digests, of course, sell a lot because they're in the grocery stores
Yeah.
and it's cheap, thick phone book. Like just you throw
Yeah,
it.
but I mean,
Somewhere,
like, in terms of monthly comic books, Sonic is
Sonic
their
was
bestseller.
their thing.
Right.
And so like a part of it was like Ian was like when I spoke to him last year, he was like Mega Man isn't doing badly,
It's just
but
not
it
doing as
could
good as
be
Sonic.
it could be doing better.
Yeah.
So I think part of it was like, I mean, obviously, you know, it just the basic idea of we have these two heroes, a crossover it's a great idea.
Mm.
But I'm sure part of
Yeah.
it was just like, hopefully, because we're gonna get the Sonic fans, are going to be picking up Mega Man to cover this thing, and because Mega Man will have to get some Sonic books.
Yeah.
You know, like
Right.
I'm sure there were some people who just read Mega Man who now possibly follow Sonic, and some Sonic fans who now possibly follow Mega Man. As you
So-
just said, you know.
Right. Yeah. It was. It's one of those video game series that the style and everything. I wasn't really obviously born when Mega Man first came out, and I
Yeah.
never really got into
I
it.
still don't care to go back and play the games, but I'll read the comics.
See, I bought Mega Man 2 on my
Yeah.
3DS eShop, and that's by far one of my favorite retro games.
I always liked the
'Cause I
characters
love
and
it.
everything in Mega Man, but I never could get any good at the games other than Battle Network.
When you're not
Yeah.
used to them, they're very difficult.
I
died
picked up
so
from
many
the,
times on Mega Man 2.
I picked up from the library the old cartoon show from like the
Super Fighting Robot
Robot
Mega Man.
I was like, this is pretty fun. This is pretty.
You know,
Yeah.
the tie that into Sonic, the voice of Mega Man. Love me, I forgot his name, but same voice actor as Coconut from Adventures on the Hedgehog.
Really? Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I
Those
know,
are
right?
really different
I won.
voices.
Well, they made like Mega Man. They gave him like defined muscles and like abs and that.
Yeah,
kind
it
of
was
like,
really
I
weird.
he's a
remember
kid. Like he's meant to be like a kid, you know.
You know, and
seeing
it's
parts
really
of that on YouTube.
funny.
That cartoon show.
I have the Mega Man collection set. Like the first 8 games in one play on PS2 disc, and it includes the first episode of that cartoon.
Okay.
So bad, it's hilarious.
I love the opening to that because it looks so much
Super
better.
Fighting. It looks like
so
it looks
good.
like anime. Like,
Yeah.
Super Fighting,
But then you get in, and
Robot.
it's like
Well,
it's the same thing with like the G.I. Joe movie.
well, it's the same thing with like cartoons at that point. They would give a much bigger budget to the opening credits.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Thundercats, opening credits looks good animation. What's the show? It's like this is
This is interesting. This is nice.
this
Good
is-
job.
Yeah.
Good job.
That's it.
Brody.
Thank you, someone in the chat. Ian James call it was
Now I have your
Mega Man and Crocodiles. Now I've got your power. Poof. Feral Man is awesome.
Oh.
But yeah, so again, Worlds Collide, I'm really happy with that. And
Yeah.
so post Worlds Collide,
I'm liking it.
okay,
I would eat that cheeseburger.
Do you wanna explain what's happening post Worlds Collide, Jonathan?
Everything's different, but everything's new and it's good. It's really good. They started by reintroducing each of the freedom fighters and redesigning them. Everything looks different, but it's more
I like the
game-like?
I like the redesigns because they were designed, I guess, probably with some help from Sega too.
Yeah, they're
If-
supposed to be in line.
If basically if Sega put these characters in a game, this is what they would look like.
Well, and it's really cool because Rafa Knight is doing those 3D
Yeah,
render
and
covers.
that-
so you,
they look
so you
exactly
actually,
like
they look like Sega
That one's awesome. I
characters.
think Rota looks the best. Like he's
Yes.
like, he kind of looks slightly like Boom Knuckles in terms of his body
Yeah.
proportions.
Yeah.
I was never a massive fan of Sally's design ever, but I do like her new design. I think she looks good now.
You gotta
Yeah, I
think
agree.
they were originally designed in the '90s with that whole fluffy cartoon furry animal phase, and that's what all those characters looked like. They looked like the Disney furry animal type of thing.
And a lot of Western cartoons.
Yeah.
At the time.
So now they finally look like Sonic. Because Sonic, yes, he's influenced by Mickey Mouse, but he's
What? That's news to me.
What are you talking
And
about?
Bill Clinton.
I'm joking, man.
Oh, okay. Bill Clinton was influenced by Mickey
His
Mouse.
personality.
Bill Clinton was influenced by Mickey Mouse.
Wait, haven't you-
run this country the right way.
Haven't you heard after every
I did not have
after
sexual relations with Minnie Mouse.
he's sitting at his
Yeah.
desk and then you suddenly hear a aha. It's like, oh, is
Sir,
someone?
should we respond to the outside threats?
Of course not. This country does not operate with terrorists. Who do you think we are, chicken? Cheep, 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 cheep.
cheep, cheep. You're just the chicken, Mark.
Oh,
And so, one thing I like is that they have this thing where only a handful of freedom fighters are getting their memories back, and
Knuckles won't get his
conveniently
memories
Knuckles
back.
won't. Which
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I think works because again, I'm sorry, I hated all that Knuckles backstory
Oh, shoot.
bullshit they had, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm glad that's gone now. Like,
all of the ancestors and
an ancestor on ancestor action.
it's just dumb.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to. So, but like, aren't they doing a thing where like certain characters get their memories back, but aren't their memories fading?
all their
Yeah.
memories
Yes.
are gonna fade, and I don't think it's gonna actually matter. I
No.
think it was. And honestly, one thing that bothers me is he spent so much time on the whole. We remember things, but it's not going to do anything.
They
I
spent
honestly
like
would have.
It's weird because they spent like they had it in the first issue with Sonic remembers, and then like he fixes Tails' memory.
Yeah.
But like for the next like 3 issues, it's always like Amy, oh my god, what happened? Sally, oh what happened? It's like they just slightly redundant. They keep
Yeah.
they keep playing the same beats over and over again. Like the one thing I did like though in the first part where they showed they showed how history had changed. Where like they had the image of
King Max
of Julian Robotnik
Yeah.
and King Max, and they had like
Yes.
then it turned to classic Eggman and Max's like new design.
Yeah,
I thought
his new design.
that worked great. I thought, but then like they kind of did it with every character, and it was just kind of like it's. I get that they kind of have to, but I wish they would have either had them all happen at one point or just like not spend so much time
Yeah.
with each character
Right.
having it done. You know.
Honestly, I feel like it's gonna only benefit from it being that part of the story being over. Because I honestly I think it's just getting better, and I think that the chase from at least the first issue, I think
Chase is good.
Chase is really good. I think it's the best issue of the reboot so far. Last issue was really good. The Station Square rescue.
Yeah.
I liked it, but I was just like it was fun. The artwork was great,
Yeah.
but it just felt like a filler issue.
Well,
I
you
think
know-
we're gonna get. I think we're gonna get more with part 2. I think part 2 is
No,
gonna.
no, no. I don't mean Chase. I mean the Rescue in Station Square issue.
Yeah.
That was like it was. I mean, like Ian was like, this is we're gonna re-show you how the freedom fighters work as a team in this
Right.
universe. But it's just kind of like it was good. I mean, I like that they were showing Sonic getting like stressed out, and they showed like the first subtle hints of maybe Werehog.
Yeah.
Right.
know?
Yeah, after he.
But the
was
bit like
exposed.
the one scene I kind of didn't like was like because they have that new like Sky Fortress ship now, the Freedom
Yeah.
Fighters, and like Sally's on there. She like has the kind of like what am I doing? Cream's like, Miss Sally, get back to work, and she's like, oh okay. And like that scene, I was just a bit like, no, okay, I don't really get that, but why is Cream there? Okay, okay,
In
bye.
terms of artwork, I love like all of the details that Stanley put in there. Like there was the one billboard that had Sonic Lost World,
World.
except it was a spoof off of Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Lost
One,
World.
I have to say that I think was it issue 3 of the reboot of what was that art called?
Countdown to Chaos.
Countdown to Chaos.
Yeah.
Was it the third arc that had that they had the different artists where the like, limbs were weird?
Oh yeah,
Um,
it was Jerry Gaylord
Jerry Gaylord.
franchise.
You know what was weird? It a lot of it looked fine, but there were certain panels and poses. It was just like
Yeah.
like the alternate cover for part 3 had like 06 long legs Sonic on the front cover.
Yes.
The variant was actually done by a different guy too.
Oh, is it? Well, that variant
It wasn't by Jerry Gaylord.
that
Yeah, that
variant
was
just
somebody
wasn't that good.
Yeah, no. The variant was actually by a food comic blogger or something weird like Cooking with Comics. I don't know why they did that.
It wasn't that good.
It wasn't something to really
I
buy
can't see
unless you're
where
buying
you're
them all.
coming from. I
But,
hate
you know.
doing this is not supersonic.
What do you guys think about the after the credits initiative that they're starting? That we actually just got our first taste of with.
Will that only be for 1 month?
I hope
yeah,
so.
it's only one a month.
It's
As someone who doesn't know, what?
okay.
after-
So after the credits is that for the first issue they did it with, which was for Shadowfall Part 4, the
Yeah.
final issue of Shadowfall in the Sonic Universe arc.
Uh-huh.
They had the basic story, and then because each comic now has a regular cover and a variant cover, depending on which issue you get, it shows a special one-page what happens after the story. Spoiler alert! The regular, if you get the regular cover issue, it shows the Eclipse's ship falling to the ground and Knuckles sees it. And because
He's like, I better not hit my island.
pretty much, and because Knuckles is the star of the next arc in the
Uh-huh.
universe, I like that because it's connecting them.
Right.
Well, that's what they would have usually done.
Yeah,
like-
they kind of used to do that with Sonic Universe. Like at the end of the Shadow Saga, they showed like a quick page of Laura Sue fast forwarding 30 years later,
Yeah.
leading you into the next.
But I guess
So what was in the alternate
I guess
cover?
after a while, okay, the alternate cover it shows dun 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 Snively.
Which when I saw that, I'm like,
Snively, so he's Julian Snively. He's got
Julian Snively.
he's got
yeah.
like a beard now, like a
yeah,
weird beard.
like a goatee.
Goatee, but it's like it was alright, you know. But like
I like that a lot better than the Knuckles one because it was actually surprising.
I'm just like I don't care. Like Snively being back's fine. I don't really care that he's back. Like it doesn't affect me too much. I'm just like the thing about the after the credits. It's a nice idea, but it's kind of I kind of share this opinion as my friend Benji. Like I think I maybe a tad cynical, but all the variant covers and stuff. I just just a way for
More money, yeah.
more for hardcore. It's prying on the
Me.
on yeah, basically on
poor
hardcore
Jonathan.
collectors who have to have everything. So like,
Right.
there's another. That's why like with Worlds Collide, that Archie would sell like you can get all the issues and all the variants. And some issues had like 2 or 3 variants, I think. Or was it?
Oh, yeah,
was it
there
just,
was-
Yeah, there was
at-
2 issues that had 3 variants.
No, there was 3 at the beginning of
Were
each
there?
arc. There was a Team Sonic and then a Team
To Mega Man.
variant.
and it's just like, you know, it's kind of for Worlds Collide, I kind of got that because there was a big event. I kind of understand that. But I'm just like, why? And some of the variants are just like a Sega, like a stock Sega image.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, see, I really like the variants. It gives me, not that I need something else to collect, but it's cool to get to see like certain artists, like even when Dawn did the variant to Sonic Universe. You know, that was really cool to get to see, you know, some other artists, even past artists, come back to do art. But the ones that are just pretty much the Sega 3D renders with a somewhat generic background, I don't.
kind of
Yeah, I don't
worthless.
I
care
think
for
Yeah,
right
so-
now the best variants are the Mega Man variants because they're by Ben Bates and
they're good.
they're like
Right.
they're X themed. It's like you got the regular story themed one by an artist, and then you got the backup variant.
One
by
of
Ben Bates
one of my
for-
favorite recent Mega Man variants. It was completely random. It was Mega Man fighting bad box art Mega
Yes.
Man from the
Yes,
first
I
Mega
got
Man
that.
game.
I actually picked that one
I
up.
think I got that one as well. That's awesome. Bad
That's
box art Mega
actually
Man.
why I started collecting the Mega, because I was interested in it, and then I saw that, and I'm like, oh man, you know, I have to get this comic book.
Well,
And
like
I
some
was
of the ones
obsessed.
in the only time I ever went back and rebought an issue because it was Countdown to Chaos Part 1. I had picked up the variant, which was like a Metal Sonic like skeleton thing. I thought, that
Yeah.
looks pretty cool.
Oh yeah, by Tristan Jones. TRX
And after a
Jones.
while, like I got like issues like 2, 3 of Countdown to Chaos. It's like, crap, this is a picture. I have to go back and like
Yeah.
get the
I
proper
got-
issue 1. You know.
I got extras of that so I can combine them together and hang it on my wall.
They should sell that as a poster. I'd buy that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
They totally
They need
should.
to do another like Sonic Super Special like poster
Poster book.
poster.
I
The
don't
one
like
thing is,
I
I don't want to pull it out of. my
I'd
book,
rather
you
just
know?
buy a poster, not have to
Yeah.
put out
Yeah.
a book. You know.
Well, I just bought 2, so.
I bought 2 too, but then I'm like, I don't know if I want to tear these out. I'll cry.
Oh yeah, even still, I bought 2, and the one that I was supposed to tear apart for the posters, I haven't done that yet.
Me too. Like it's like
Because I can't bring myself to tear
Yeah.
apart.
It's not gonna be mint condition anymore. I don't know.
Okay,
what-
Jonathan
You moved it
Winters.
from the box.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
Hey.
like the after the credits because I get a little something extra, and they're certainly gonna put everything in the trades.
Well, I'll be honest with you, I guess the after the credits was just a slight thing of for people buying the variants. Here's
yeah, I
something
think it's
extra
nice
for them.
if they're going to do the variants like that, to at least
Give them
make
something
the effort
different.
to give you something that
Yeah.
makes it worth it, rather than if you just buy a variant with the Sega render. You know, there's not really that much to it or point in buying it. So
Yeah, it was.
it's nice to have.
That's why I'm
something
slightly
extra.
cynical. Like if it was like a lot of the Worlds Collide variants, but like my one of my the best variant ever is still, I think it's Worlds Collide issue 4. Sonic and Mega Man tied up to a tree, and Eggman and Wily on
Oh,
a
yeah.
tandem bike.
The tandem
I
bicycle.
want that on a poster.
Yeah,
I
same.
want that to hang up, man.
The
That's like
evil-
the best thing. Evil Friends
Evil
Forever.
Friends Forever
That's so
variants.
cool.
My favorite was the one actually by Tracy, where it had Wily and Eggman sitting there playing video
The
games.
Xbox,
Oh,
yes, I
yeah.
bought that as well. Yeah, the
Oh,
Xbox.
I love that they have the little toys in the background.
Yes.
That's
It's
the
like-
best.
It's like
little
the
model
Motor
of the-
Bog.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Egg Emperor.
The
from
Egg
Heroes,
Emperor, yeah,
the
that's
Death
pretty
Egg
sweet.
Robot and everything. That
I
was
want
awesome.
I want a Death Egg robot toy that's like that big, like a
Same.
foot tall. Oh,
I'd buy that.
and then like a little Robotnik to put inside.
For those of you who don't know, Chris has been playing the challenge mode of Sonic Colors this entire time. We've pretty much gone through every single level in Colors.
That's the first
Well,
time I've ever actually done that mode.
I know, right? And like, so you know, I thought that was I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So I want to thank everyone for listening to this rambling about the Archie Sonic main series comic book.
Because
and-
no one else will do it with us.
Exactly, we have no
Yes.
friends, and so I think we're gonna come back and do one about Universe maybe at another time.
Yeah.
Goodbye.